Ladies and germs.
Prepare for battle. Select your hero.
Moss up, what's up, dog? Krusty Mop, what's up, dude? Raven Wolf, what's up? Happy Sunday.
Our future will be forged in conflict. No one expected the Roman Empire to fall. Perhaps that is why it did.
16 months, dude. 16 months, Raven Wolf. I need to change that sound. Thank you. Last day of ranked? I think tomorrow's the last day of ranked. Yo, Jalen, what's up, dude?
Ready for a knockout?
It's a great name, but that was my best friend's name. Spelled the same too, dude. What am I? I'm gonna wait till my PB is like a 1 second cooldown.
Strength is more than numbers.
Okay, I just... These kids are ass. Alright.
Meteor strike.
Kind of have to punch out here. Make sure I don't take damage here. Get healed up. I'll get you too. Yeah, I trolled. I trolled. I did not see it. I worked on Mindplex. I woke up at 6 a.m. yesterday, chat. Worked on Mindplex. We're getting there, by the way. We're getting there, by the way. Oh my fuck me. I'm knocking these kids off the map. Oh! Are you serious? What did I diag off? What? Are you kidding? What? Was it this? Bruh, are you kidding me? You can walk on this shit? No fucking way, dude.
Heroes never die.
Yo, you guys know you can walk on that?
We have the robot.
That's crazy, man.
Meteor strike.
Run by. Oh shit.
I'm at the height of my performance.
Wise decision.
Send my slam, I punched in and got hacked right at that second, bro. Are you fucking for real? Most talented Sombra player. See, I have. Left of that mega. Alright. I get EMP'd.
You're not doing so good. Apagando las luces.
Oh my goodness. I need to go on my run today, guys. Guys, I'm already getting in really good shape, by the way. You can already see it. World's cringiest player. Yep.
Meteor strike. This is your order. I've got you in my sights.
Heal up in the tree. Ha! Rat mercy cut. A little bounce. I'm gonna throw a rat Sombra's waiting for me. So I'm gonna slam here instead. He went hog! Don't hack me, please. Dude, there's no way my slam just looked like fucking crit. I trying to hit a jump shot. Phoenix, what's up? Oh, my internet is shitting the bed today. I might need to restart my internet.
The odds are against us. Dodge this.
Cargo Wave, what's up?
Meteor strike.
Send that dragon, buddy. Yeah, my internet's not doing well today, guys. I'm gonna have to restart it. My internet's not doing great today.
Face my burning fist.
Irandito, wait, he's me, chat. Shoot me. Hanzo got bugged.
Wait for it.
Oh my god, I'm a genius for that.
A challenger.
Approaching the final station.
Brimming with firelight.
Life protects life.
Oh my.
Take back the robot.
I'm out.
An enemy here.
Guys, should I restart my internet if it's gonna be lagging all day, or do you guys care? It's gonna be dropping frames all day if I don't restart it.
Don't let it charge.
I'm lagging. Like I'm trying to watch myself.
Meteor strike.
Yeah, this hog is hella confused. Yeah, it's not gonna get better.
60 seconds remaining.
How do you guys mercy?
We cannot allow him. Selected against.
hide.
Better now. Like I've dropped like 7% of my frames. Yeah, I'm gonna have to restart. Barrage.
Meteor strike.
An enemy. If they lose the robot, they lose everything.
Okay. Let me restart my router real quick, chat. 1 second. We'll be back in like 2 minutes, okay? Give me 1 sec. All right. I think we're back, boys. Sorry, I was reading something. You guys hear me? Oh, did I restart it fast enough for us to not have to do a new stream? That'd be lit if I did. Let's go. I did. I restarted fast enough. Let's go. Hell yeah. Okay. Sorry, I was reading something, guys. Okay, sick. All right, let's play 10. Let's go to comp, boys. How much for Doom coaching? Head over to the Patreon. You get every bit of information you need there. We're starting to grab replay codes, and we're getting things started this week. It'll be great. Okay, we fixed it. Nice.
Traveling, prepare to attack.
All right.
Select your hero.
We're playing Doom, boys.
Our future will be forged in conflict. All right, then.
Chat, I might not have to go to my run today because we might be hooping. We might be playing some basketball. I'm excited.
I still have much to learn.
If you knew what Blackwatch was up to, why didn't you stop them?
My vision was clouded by anger.
And now the world pays
For your actions.
Alright, let's go, boys. Y'all ready?
3, 2, 1. Attack commences.
I know your voice went that high? Yeah, okay. Okay. What the fuck? Dude, why is the bus trolling me? He's using that block. Why'd he feed? Oh, he dies.
I see one.
First. The dad didn't go. Oh, mercy. Yo, I know you guys aren't gonna feel this fight, right? Alright, I should be able to get out of here. Okay, well, I got their mercy finally. The difference is, chat, they have Echo and we have Genji, so that was all their CDs. We have Valk, we can go Valk. Unless my Genji does that. I'm about to flame him. I'm gonna say some words to my little Genji player. Vegas have the Echo. We have the Genji. Hey, buddy, his hero came out later. Your hero's shit. Get off Genji. You're 56. You have 800 damage in 2 minutes. It's time to retire. Play another character, buddy. It's time to get a job. We didn't Valk either. Just because they're destroying. I'm giving them hints, chat. We're gonna help them little by little and give them some hints. It's alright, guys. My Genji's nearing 1,000 damage in 2 minutes.
Meteor strike.
Engage. Genji.
Caught in a stamp.
Gonna res. I should trade out at least one here. I should get help here a little bit.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
Meteor strike.
Over here.
I'm on fire!
60 seconds
Hi.
remaining.
Over here.
Really great players on my team.
Join together.
Still's not bladed. I'm sure he'll do it. I don't.
Meteor strike.
Yo, swing your blade, you worthless bot burger.
Meteor strike. Ready for a knockout?
No way I get a slider.
Engage. Doomfist. Score 0-0. Switching sides.
I just can't. I'm 1v5. I'm just 1v5, dude. I'm just 1v5. Doesn't matter what I do. Their Echo is just gapping my DPS so hard. Just you gotta stop, dude. You gotta stop, guys. Please stop picking Genji. He's horrible.
Jack, are you taking your vitamins?
He is actually a horrible character. Is he in a stack? Solo queue. Okay.
Watch your flanks. They might try something.
Guys, I actually could be the best player in the world and still lose this game with my team. My DPS just got gapped too hard. Yeah, no, I was 1v5 on point. I'm playing better than their Doom is. Their DPS are just like Veer has 1600 damage in 5 minutes, so like we just lose. And then my supports thought it was a good idea to pocket them instead of me, which is also a bad idea. I might just like we can try to hold this, but we're just gonna lose this game probably. We could win.
There they are. Get ready.
I'm gonna waste Suzu. Look.
Thank you.
Keep an eye out.
How are you shitters dead already? Yeah, their Echo's just 1v5, and I just have like DPS and can't tie their shoes.
Adaptive circuit engaged.
Yeah, they just have Echo Mercy. I've got fucking Veer, Overwatch, and Lithbird on my team. Alright, auto loss game. GG. I have the worst players known to mankind. Alright. Minus 12 there. Nothing, guys, literally, like, I guarantee, like, I'm serious, guys. Like, I could have been LeBron. Like, literally, like, unwinnable game. Unwinnable game. Could have been the best player in the world. Wouldn't have mattered. Those kids were going to lose that game. Yeah. 5v5 helps carry bad players. Well, if there was a tank exchange and there were 2 tanks, like, I probably could do something there. But, again, I just, like, they just had Echo Mercy that was running the lobby, and I had fucking Veer Overwatch attempting to play Genji. You know, it's okay. It happens. You just can't win the game. Oh, yeah. And to see, like, I expect games like that to be like that all day today. You get 10 avoid slots. That's actually 10 avoid slots is actually a really bad idea, but
Our future will be forged in conflict.
No mistakes. No mercy. Watch your flanks. They might try something.
What experience do you possibly bring to this mission?
Last week,
Alright.
my friends and I sank a Hashimoto party boat.
So,
in a hero bench, you keep your own teammates from fucking bad heroes. I think it's a bad idea. It's gonna break Q times. All the 5v5ers sit there and argue for Q times, and then they fucking they want 10 avoid slots. Like, no. I don't need 10 avoid slots.
The payload is advancing.
And low rank players don't need them either because you never see the same players. Who is that? Is this in here? I'm really excited to play against Lifeweaver Moira, dude. I love Hinder. My team's not paying attention. Who are they shooting? They're shooting nobody.
I'm here.
Okay, he went Brig. That's actually troll. Okay.
This time we'll.
Why do I have a Genji? And a Widow. Please switch. I'm begging you. There we go. Yo, I just get nothing. I have to remember, chat. I'm playing with some very special players today. That's what we have to remember, boys. The Kiris don't know how to TP Suzu. My DPS don't know how to walk forward past the 6 shield. Their cast just knows how to throw hand grenades. We're gonna have to slow down and play like we're playing with fucking like absolutely brainless animals. Sigur's shielding my slam. Moira is fading into my team. Nobody's gonna shoot her with me because they're gonna be sitting on the back on casts. Yeah, okay. This is gonna be a fun lobby. This is gonna be a very fun lobby. Get charged off that. Let's see if I can get this angle. The flux. He's gonna die. Where's this flank Moira? Okay. Widow carrying no value in the back. He's on Surge now. Alright, guys, it really is insane though. Like Weaver, Brig, Moira, like those heroes need to get hard nerfed. They do.
Meteor strike.
Like a book. Sit your ass down. Absolute Blue Eater heroes. Alright.
I'm on my game now.
How's it going?
Where's the Elmers, boys? They really did make this game like completely crazy. But buffing Weaver might be the biggest mistake they can make. And there's the Orisa. Woo! Alright, I just have to play really slow now. Just gonna slam cycle around. He's back on Widow, which is actually not a bad swap. Almost at him. That's not what we're dying for. Let's grab Mega. I've got this to one fight territory, actually. Ain't no effing way. I don't know why they pushed that. Oh, I don't know why I pushed that. I needed to wait 2 seconds. Now, I did get us the space, so, like, we still could do something with this, and I'll be back pretty quickly, but, like, my team in this rank won't do anything with it. He's just gonna feed, look.
I don't die that easily. Meteor strike.
Alright, so we're just splitting them on cooldown, chat. Well, I'm wedging myself in between these guys, right? I'm making sure that they can't get the space they need. This is Diamond.
Dodge. They're gonna charge me. I'm gonna get ready to go slam up the high ground here when the soldier peaks. All their CDs. Gonna punch in and out, see if they charge me. They probably will. Yep. The blind side them with this quick punch. Oh, fuck me, man. That would have been so fat. I'm dead. I went early. Holy shit, we just got absolutely lambasted.
I've got you in my sights.
They just split. All I had to do was hit one of them. I was trying to be patient. But this is so brain dead. Well, again, it's the power creep and the DPS passive that's making them buff support. So, like... They charge me. I'm going to wait for my PB to be on a 3-second cooldown. Fake that. Shit. On paper, I live if we throw a Suzu, but I gotta remember we're not in a rank where they can do this for me. Wait, after I died to throw it. We gotta slow down for these guys, chat. Super, you should walk in here.
We must push forward.
There's the echo swap. Are we surprised? No. Who's over here? We're gonna fade. Push cart here. Alright. Try to get our support ults.
Just keep that coming.
60 seconds.
Meteor strike.
So you're telling me all of them died to a coalescence and a high noon?
30 seconds remaining.
Well, I stuffed 3 of them in spawn.
Stay close.
We don't get one.
Alright, well, we cap. Okay. Think Doom needs any buffs? No, I think they need to go back to 6v6. That's what I think they need to do.
3-0.
Make this game like remotely interesting again, but take roll passives out of the game.
Prepare your defenses.
Nano Echo.
Select your hero.
It's like one of the best things you can do in the game. Nano Echo is crazy good. Having another tank? I don't know about that actually. I think he gets more fun. He becomes more fun to play, but anyway, guys, make sure you head over to Patreon. We're going to be starting our series over there like this week. I got my codes from everybody. Coaching VODs are going to be going up. You can get in our private Discord where you can ask me questions. Come to more community events. That's probably where we're going to start doing viewer games because my Discord's just too cluttered. Than I ever did as a DPS player in 6v6. No, you won't get banned. You're just bad and dumb.
Dodge this. Cover me.
When have I not?
Question: when you do your alt accounts, you just crank it up to 100% of your games, increase MMR. Do you take it slow? These are all old accounts. These aren't like I don't like really play quick play on any of them.
3, 2, 1. Attackers
That removes so
incoming.
much skill. That just removes options. It's not necessarily skill. Moira Lifeweaver, I'm excited. My experience is now guaranteed to be miserable. Oh, I'm on a troll here, actually. So I now can no longer kill anything by myself because these plats have picked the correct heroes. They have picked heroes that cannot miss, even though I can on my character. So I can be 10 times better than them, and it does not matter. It's really exciting. Lifeweaver might be the worst designed hero since Brig, I might say it. He's got really cool abilities and concept, but man, what they did to put that hero in the game is truly atrocious. Yeah, enough. That's awesome. Why even have a tank exchange when they just get Suzu'd and shit, you know?
Meteor strike.
Shitter.
I wreak chaos.
Don't let Stas be here to go! She's dead.
No one can hide from us.
She lives, we can win.
Send your best. I'm ready. Stall that payload, or else.
I think I just fight second now.
Execute them all.
Reaper was doo-doo for all of Overwatch 1. He was ass. Go have blue somewhere else, kid.
Watch out! Enemy here. The breeze brings relief.
You guys stop feeding for the love of fucking Jesus Christ.
Mercy on call. Come here and I will heal you.
Wait for it.
Soothing your wounds. My ultimate is ready. Join me.
Heard you.
Push the payload back.
Got you. This ends now.
Ship's off. Alright. Nothing new. I can't go to the Doom. We're lose. We're so.
Meteor strike.
Come on, fish it in.
The main event is over.
Fury's back.
This is your warning.
Fucking blue eater.
Let me vulnerable.
I can't physically do more with you fucking bot burgers. Please don't. Thank you. Oh my god, she's dead for it. My god, she's back up. Oh my god, she recalled. Oh my god, we're gonna lose. The wife here is just gonna hard block everybody I'm on. Yeah, it's just, yeah.
Ready for knockout?
What do you I don't think I think Blizzard should win a fucking Guinness World Record and some kind of award for making the worst fucking gaming experience humanly possible for tank players. Like it really, like Team 4, like congratulations guys, like y'all fucking done it. Y'all, like guys, I'm dead ass about to swap off Doom. Like playing Doom against fucking Weaver and Moira, like when I am 10 times better than these stupid fucks on their team, right? And I just can't ever get a fucking kill because their heroes can't miss and they have get out of jail free cards and I have to be fucking Jesus Christ to do literally anything. But they let these absolute blue eater shitters because they want the game to be more fucking inclusive. So they, and like in their dumbass minds, they sit there, they think, oh well, we want everybody to be able to play. Yeah, you know, you guys are just fucking bench riding pussies, is what you are. Holy shit! I'd wager nobody on Team 4 played a sport in their lives. Seriously, ever, literally ever, literally not one. I would be shocked. I would be shocked because they sat there and they played fucking card games, which is fine. But this is a fucking competitive shooter. Quit letting these glue eaters just do everything for free. It's brain dead. So sick of it. Play a sport, please.
Meteor strike.
Over there.
Go ahead and grip him out.
Meteor strike.
Alright, winnable. Res. No, it's just true, dude. Like, Look at these characters they designed. Look at Moira right now. Frito is right. Moira is way too good.
I'm on fire.
Moira is way too fucking good. Like, you could be an absolute fucking imbecile and get enormous value on Moira. It's embarrassing. Same for Lifeweaver. It's stupid. Alright, baited the tree. Nice, you shitters. That was a little early. No way to block that.
This ends now.
Surprise! Yeah, go huff glue in a Walmart, kid. Get the fuck out of my game. All right. Nice. It's just dumb. It's just dumb, dude. What's the point of trying if you just pick these brain dead heroes and just immediately deny your entire existence? It's just stupid. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome, dude. Awesome. Awesome immortality field. Sorry, my fault, guys. I didn't see they switched to that hero.
Heroes never die.
My fault for jumping on a player who misuses cooldowns, was out of position and ahead of his team.
They're out of time. Don't let
Good thing the supports can look down and press E and undo any mistake. Alright, wait, I want to win this game. I do not want to be in this lobby anymore. We're stopping now.
Adaptive circuit engaged. Doomfist.
Step right up.
I'm gonna get healed, right?
A fatal flaw.
I'm really feeling this.
Shit, Morris flying out. That's something else. Oh, that ult did so little damage.
Meteor strike.
Say, you stupid glue eater! Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just fucking Moira is just the dumbest hero I've just ever seen in my entire life. I can't take it. I can't. I can't. It actually is insane. You guys, you want to know how I know Moira's brain dead? Genuinely. No flame to Johnny. Okay? Johnny has not played this game in fucking years. Johnny picked up Moira, and in one day, dude, one day, he was hitting his peak with like 13,000 healing per 10. Like, these players are just the bottom of the barrel, and it doesn't matter. Talking trash while Swervy's kind of wild. Only to Moira players.
Will be forged in conflict.
This foolish mission is taking time away.
Moira, picking Moira is reverse smurfing.
Think of it as field.
Picking Moira is reverse smurfing. It is. It's even. Because you don't have to be good at the game to get any value at all.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 1.
Like, if you are a Moira only player and you are a high rank, like your actual rank is about like an entire skill like division below you.
You cannot escape.
Seriously, I mean that unironically, and I'm not even trying to flame. Like, I am dead serious. Why am I not getting charged on that? I am completely serious, yeah. I'm not even saying that to troll. Like if they only play Moira, like you need to subtract like an entire skill tier division from their play. Because if you put them on any other character, they're useless. And then like Johnny, isn't that expected? Yeah, but like your name's Dreggy and you like 5v5, so you don't really have a position to like speak. Oh wow, my Moira's dead. That was stupid.
Under my protection.
I missed the shots! I missed the shots! It'd be so cool if my Moira wasn't like flank dying. What about Tesla? If they only play Moira, it does not matter who it is. Their actual rank is an entire skill tier division below where they are. I mean that so genuinely, by the way.
Meteor strike.
My bad. My bad. My bad. My bad. I'll get better. I'm sorry. It's brain dead. Yep. So all the time. Classic Sombra. Oh, we got to 80.
Stay out of my way. Everyone heal up. I will.
Doom won't be given paper cuts? Nah, paper cuts actually hurt. Why is this giving me Burger Billy vibes?
Apagando las luces.
In hardship, find strength.
Old champs account. Wait, we have a Moira's dead now. Oh god.
Meteor strike.
To my will.
My fault. My bad. My bad, guys. My bad. My bad.
Step rider.
My fault. My fault, man.
Best round.
My bad. My fault. My bad. My bad.
Every
My bad.
plan must evolve.
Fun here to play.
Score
My fault, guys. I'll get better.
2-1.
Really glad that guy has more health. His base.
Thick of it now.
I mean, Tang Doom is fine. It's just like 5v5 that fucked him. I'm telling you, like that's why he's not fun. Like you can play him. It's just not worth the effort to play him.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Actually, it's the least rewarding game I've ever played.
2. Capture the objective.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Let's win this time.
But I don't get hacked the next half second. Okay, so there is a Moira. Awesome. This is awesome. Guys, like, I could just pick Zarya and win this game, by the way. I'm really tempted to.
Dodge this.
Epic.
A cure for all the tales.
Why is he question marking him? Oh, I think it's oh, awesome. Really glad Sawston threw a fucking damage orb. Really wonder why I died there. Really glad my Moira one trick is throwing fucking damage orbs into a fucking defense matrix, man. Why are you walling, you stupid fucking loser? Oh. This is what I'm talking about. Like this kid actually thinks he's smart. He's gonna put up those stats and more and be like, why did I lose the game? Oh yeah, I wonder. We're probably all gonna die to MP, chat.
We're outnumbered.
I might make this out.
That's over here.
Are you fucking serious?
Meteor strike.
I just get nothing. Why your team wants to lose so bad? I mean, they're just not good.
I see them.
No way. He's out. Be a big, huge team back. We get it. Oh my. We get it. Shoot him. Nice. Okay, that's a huge kill. Okay. All right. Don't chase that. Come back.
Unite as one.
We have Kitsune on point. It's a Kitsune angle of all time. GMP, go for him, go for Ash.
Meteor strike.
Round 2. 1.
All right.
Score. 1.
Guys, this shit is awful. I'm miserable right now. I am miserable right now. I need to go on my run today too. Chat, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not gonna post it because it's too exposed, but I am rapidly getting back in shape. I'm kind of shocked as to how fast it was for me. Whoever said that your body remembers, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Your body remembers, dude.
Round 3. Capture
The ball changes, I'm not a fan personally, but
If we're hoping to win, within my reach.
Punk. Thank you. Now I'm gonna work on the tank video this week, guys. I had so much shit happen this week, man. Like, I had a ton of Mindplex stuff come up. I'm planning a trip. I'm going to Philly to see my buddy play and to see a friend. Right? Fuck me, man. I'm excited. I just got a lot going on. Well, no way. Like, did we just... Oh, my Kiri's dead. I mean, it's 5v5 is what ruined tank. I mean, 5v5 made tank and worse.
Point!
Right?
God, dude, why we took that?
Probably win this.
Meteor strike.
She slides, and she slides. My Tracer might win that if she has half the brain. She does not. You guys can win that if you ult. If you ult there. Unlucky.
Use hog ult there. I'm probably dead here. Maybe not.
She sadly waited until after our sim died to get to that. Oh, she wasn't a voice, okay.
Pulse more close to the hold here.
A taste of poison.
I'm gonna slam my...
Meteor strike.
Cure no TP, cure no TP low. Just talk, just talk. I'm on a bit. We'll shield for me, so.
Get off my points!
Echo 1. Nice. GG's team. Good luck here next.
Moira cut. Dude, these games are hard for no reason. I am playing Doom, though. But yeah, I've just got a lot going on, guys. I've got a lot going on. But yeah, guys, make sure to head over to the Patreon today. Check that out. We got some good things going on over there. A ton of coaching VODs are going to start going up.
Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
Best DPS counter for Doom? Probably like a Sombra. Something that disrupts its cooldown cycle. Sombra or Echo? I might be playing basketball tonight, chat.
Our future will be forged in conflict. Who taught you the blade?
The best sword master in the world.
Alright.
Wait for it.
No mistakes.
Guys, I'm hooping tonight, baby. I'm hooping tonight, baby. Let's go. No, wait, I can't.
I
Oh,
see
wait,
this task
shit.
completed.
Fuck, dude.
5, 4,
Oh my god. Fuck, dude. No way. Oh, I have testing tonight, dude. Fuck. I want to hoot. Yeah, they have Echo Mercy. William's low. I know what you want to do, Mystic Mercy.
I have full in 9. Just push. Put them all here. Enemy here. Keep going. I can pull you back in.
Enemy here.
Keep 2 or 3 on.
Dude, I want to play.
I'm not gonna let grapple. There's Mercy on your likely right?
Peggy! Or Pebby!
From my sight.
Claw baskets, I use the ones where I dunk on you, buddy. Every goal.
Never turn your back when you break.
We can just tree here. Aggressively, it's 1-1.
No, I pulled you!
Cool character.
My bad. I'm switching.
Meteor strike. I see one.
No way. Hit the car. I force a lot. I get you.
Bro, shit.
Fuck me in that t-shirt.
Alright. Here I come.
Alright. Peggy's a name, chat. It's not like, guys, I'm sorry. If you guys start saying weird shit in my chat, making everything weird, I'm just gonna start
I'm
banning
getting
you.
tired of the fucking healers holding right click.
It's just weird, bro. Like, that was my fucking first dog's name, and you stupid chronic online Overwatch players just want to make everything weird. Please touch grass. Seriously, man. And you guys think I'm kidding? I'm actually, like, genuinely serious. That's what's sad. I could be genuinely serious right now, and you guys are so chronically on Overwatch that, like, you go IRL and say some shit like that. It's weird. Oh, my gas entered me. Like, guys, what are y'all doing? Fucking weird.
Thank you.
You guys are, if that is your thought, you are a weird person and you need to go outside.
I know.
Meteor strike.
One. Slap.
One can die. Well,
Thread the needle.
Fucking in that bitch.
What is
Damn.
it doing there?
dead, we're dead.
Good point, get point. Wait, oh no.
No, I want to go now.
You win these.
It's just, I'm just so sick of the weird shit.
I got awesome.
Genuinely, guys. Like genuinely, I'm just sick of it, man. I'd appreciate it if you all would stop. Thank you.
I can't
Okay,
believe they
anyway.
freaking nanoed that Moira.
Yep. I think he went to Nano Doom and got fucking lucky.
Stop. Yeah, that's why the community gets made fun of so much. So like, that is what it is. It's just the type of like gamer Overwatch attracts. I guess.
the back line. Let's go up there. Let's go up there.
That's their thing. That's fine. Just not in here.
This is your warning.
Look at this stupid ass game, dude. I hate this fucking lag.
We need to get off. Honestly, I thought Weaver was okay into that, but over Moira, but with Valori.
God dang.
Meteor
All
strike.
one.
We go for a C9, anything?
No, 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 we cannot. No.
Can definitely not. There's like 4 there.
Awesome.
More to fit.
Adaptive
Huge.
circuits engaged.
They reeled them, nice. Huge.
All right, nice.
Show me your wounds. Killing pylon out.
Enemy up here!
Killing pylon deployed.
Gonna 3 card at first corner.
Okay. Nice. Let's go, boys. I'm gonna slam in.
The payload is advancing.
Oh, pass it though.
He got a stick on me. I blinked through it. Reset.
Should be okay. I got double empowered here. Who was that? Oh, she wasted her sleep.
Meteor strike.
Kree high right with high noon most likely.
Alright, so I see the ISO target and then I go for him, chat. Honestly, too. Alright, I gotta go through
He's gotta die. Damn it.
So now he's dead. We got him. We're gonna walk it up.
Huge, can we get someone? More to fight here. Shot.
Back.
One echo. No, she's won! Bro, what?
Dude, it's the nano, man. It's so hard to compete against.
No, you guys are just fucking feeders, is what you are.
Coming back into that fight too.
Yep. They've won every fight on recontest with a nano.
You guys just have to kite or
We'll be okay though.
Yeah.
I can't touch.
Like, guys, look at how little I impact this game.
Yeah.
Their Tracer is 6 and 9, Landshark is 12 and 7, and I'm 22
Yeah.
and 4, and we're losing. It's just like their comp picks and their ults are just
I
winning
would
the
go
fights.
to Anna, but
It's pretty good.
yeah, Sombra's good. Wait for him to come in. Just come up.
It's okay. I want to let these guys learn on their own.
The rest of their team isn't doing much. It's just their Doom doing everything.
Our future will be
I'll get him.
forged in conflict. Every battle makes me
Play this hero then. Does anybody play Anna so we can double stick him?
I can't.
You don't have to. You don't have to. I'm just saying, if I can stick him, you sleep him. He's dead every fight.
Chat, I really want to play basketball tonight.
Lara is just a lot more fun.
Well, true. I also agree.
Kiri.
5, 4,
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Attack Attackers incoming.
Delay the payloads
Stop
at
the payload.
Echo's gonna come from the building.
I'm just gonna try to slam cycle up here, chat. See what I can force. You guys should play high ground, not low ground.
Kinda.
Yeah, there it is.
That's why I didn't want to play there.
Thought I had the duck.
Back up.
Back up. And I can't contest both the Doomfist and their Widow and their Echo at the same time.
Cut off the payload. A challenger.
Ping their Widow, please, if you're in this.
Trying to help my team.
Look at that, look at that.
Wait for it.
Their Echo can die.
I think I'm coming to you, dude.
I'm working the map here.
Nice.
Their hand is low. Their hand is one.
Holy carry. Okay, nice.
Don't peek long. He's just gonna Widow you. Just play here.
Yeah, I'm just
You
gonna
can
play
just
up here.
literally, I just play right in this little corner here if I'm you. And I can hold up her.
Tengo que irme.
So far on this there.
I see one.
He's one. I tagged him.
Meteor strike.
Barrels are smoking.
Yeah, nice one, dumbass. Nice
I
one.
got you, Doom.
Yep.
Just keep that coming.
Yep. Yep.
Wait, one tricks him too.
I was just say you're definitely fucking there, bud.
So that's a good trade. I'll be back.
He's absolute one again.
Stop it.
Engaged.
Back up.
Doomfist.
I'll stick him.
How did I know he was gonna come this way? Excuse me, game. I fucking slept that.
Not gonna die. We'll lose this fight. Cast is split off.
Okay. Let's stop. Stabilize here. All critical.
We're outnumbered.
Hey, can we swap off Sombra and go Soldier?
I think Samba's way better into that than Soldier. I think the
Okay.
comp's fine. We just died.
A challenger.
He gets asked to pick a diveable character into that comp. I guess I can't.
Delay the payloads advantage.
Probably should lose this game. Echo and the Doom mirror is just so OP.
Doom.
You punched him out of my stick?
Summer, look to hack their Echo every fight. It's a free kill for you.
You were anti,
My
bro.
bad. I know, that was my bad. I'm gonna have to go Tracer.
Corner. That's good night.
Meteor strike. This is your. Over here. I see one.
Nice.
Alright, nice. We back it up here. Good.
No.
We're just gonna slam cycle this choke.
A challenger.
Don't chase him. Don't chase him.
Oh, I'm not.
Block.
Fucking Nano.
We can use ult too.
Live.
Both two.
That's so much gold.
Engaged.
So when they use support ults, you guys have to instantly use your support ults too, or like get way out of the fight. You can't hold. If you hold, you just lose.
mean, I was gonna die anyways, so I just didn't want to waste it. I can push the cold, right?
I hate it.
Way too early.
Get Anna, get Anna, get Anna, get Anna.
No.
Someone save point, someone save point.
I can still die.
Shitter. Okay. You just EMP when they get up to here. We'll go.
Yep.
You wouldn't help them? They need it. We're about to lose a game where their DPS is 10 and 13 because they don't know how to use ults. Guys, last fight. Let them walk up. We'll just EMP, Doom ult on their back line when they get up here.
Yep. Just don't C9.
Oh, we're chilling. We're fine.
Alright, here we go, chat. Okay, let's go now, let's go now.
Free no stick.
Do one.
Peace on that.
Back to low.
GG.
Game.
Yeah, GG sound.
Oh my gosh. Get me out. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there. I'm good. We're good. Okay. Well, that was something, chat. That was something, let me tell you. That was something. Have you watched Spilo's video where he fixes tanking in Overwatch? No, because there is no fixing tanking in Overwatch as long as the game is 5v5. Like, again, guys, balance and reworking tanks doesn't change the gameplay loop. The reason why tank feels like extra shit in this game is because of the gameplay loop. Like, balancing and reworking doesn't change the gameplay loop, right? Like, it's like I've said this for almost a year now, and people are still trying to, like, beat around it. It's like, you can giga buff every tank. It won't fucking matter. It's the gameplay loop. You seen Cager's video to your response? No. I do not care. You like it would be fair if it was a skill shot like a hook? Yes. Way better. Way better that way. Or if it had like a cast time where you had to predict it. It wasn't just instant where it's like you had to almost like channel the ability. I think that'd be better. Here's balls over the August comment section. I just prepare it 6v6 takes. Well, I mean, it's like the 5v5 defenders just gaslight. That's all they do. They don't have any points, so they just gaslight. The only point they have is Q times. The gameplay loop is worse. It is what it is. It's just not better. Like, Yeetle just made a video saying Orisa should fly, and that's the best answer the best players in the world can have. Like, get real. You know, it's just... It's like, if 5v5 was so good, why wasn't anybody arguing for it before Blizzard decided to do it arbitrarily to make the game look like a new game? Like, you know, it's stupid. It's just a worse game.
Our future will be forged.
Why did none of you suggest it before Blizzard did it?
I hope
for
put up a
6 years. Like, maybe like 3 people did.
Ooh, I think I went a bit overboard.
You know what his favorite
on the
mistakes is that you have to hedge your bets, that your off tank
Pace
covers your main
yourself.
tank's weaknesses.
That's what
and
I
you don't
always
have to
tell
do that.
Reinhardt.
As if you don't have to do that
Not
now, the
he
tank
ever
on your team.
listens.
Well, yeah, now I'm hedging that I don't get a Hog 1 trick or a Doom 1 trick. It's the same problem, except there's no chance to cover it. It's the exact same thing. And the gap when he gets counterpicked is going to be even heavier now. So, like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, I'm so sick of hearing that. Like, I love my friends, but, like, it's brain dead. Alright, love my hero. I'm going to get them on this side, chat. Ready? Please jump in. Alright, we just, that was surgical. That was surgical. What do you like more about Text 6 that 5v5 doesn't have? Bigger combos, easier duels. Abilities aren't as strong. I can 1v1 tanks and win. Roll power is easier to balance. There's more options. And I don't have games where I go like 11k damage with 11 limbs. There was just more to do. You had more playstyle options for each character. Like, the game's just dumbed down. What the frick? Depth of team play.
We're outnumbered. Fully charged.
The main reason is for competitive play that 5v5 is better, like esports. That's not true. 5v5 is not better for esports because the skill ceiling is significantly lower in 5v5.
Got an enemy here.
Somebody saw an SK tweet and thought it was facts. Look at that patience there, guys.
Meteor strike.
Might be able to kill him, actually. Remember that hog wasn't 900 HP with my better take a breather? Like, actually, when he makes a mistake. Hey, Mora.
I need healing.
You're welcome. Like, these DPS Moiras do not deserve to win. Like, these DPS Moiras do not deserve it. My Moiras! So I'll leave the game right now. I will leave the game so this kid loses right now. I will leave right now. I will leave immediately. Now, SK does have pretty good takes, but like the take that esports took off because of 5v5 is fucking delusional.
Enemy spotted.
I wreak chaos.
So I acknowledge you're very thoughtful and intelligent takes, but it's just rose tinted glasses. Yeah, it's just like it's just you can't reason with stupidity. You know, you just can't. Oh, I thought I had my ult and I didn't. I was hitting my QQ. Pickles, what's up, dude? How are you winning? I'm carrying. No, I like SK. I guess that tweet was just not remotely accurate whatsoever. Oh, fuck me. Time to shake. You made a mistake. And fake. What's the point? Why do I bother?
Surrender to my will.
Enemy here.
Be resplendent.
Oh my god, dude. I missed the tank duos. Yeah, double shield was craptacular, but it felt like tanks were the team leaders. Well, I mean, double shield was a hero design problem. Alright, so let's say everybody hates double shield, right? You hate double shield because the tanks had everything. In Overwatch 2, every tank has to be designed to have everything. So it doubles down on the exact design that sucked for the game. So instead of going in and actually fixing the design, we just changed the whole format. Like, you know, like that's the argument. It's silly. It doesn't make sense. Like ask a DPS player this. Would you rather 1v1 a Mauga or an Overwatch 1 Zarya? Which character, as the other roles in this game, would you rather play against? Overwatch 1 tanks or Overwatch 2 tanks? And by the way, Orisa and Sigma at the end of Overwatch 1 were designed like Overwatch 2 tanks. They weren't Overwatch 1 tanks. They were Overwatch 2 tanks. That's what they were. Which one would you rather go up against? And we all know the answer. The answer is Overwatch 1 tanks because they're less oppressive at their floor. And you have to actually execute to get value, right?
I have some
that puts the game in the hands of the player, not the game itself.
What's the word?
Which is lame.
Atrocities, inhumanity, crimes against nature.
Right?
Five.
Any of those will do.
Argument.
Attackers in.
That's rich.
Defend objective A.
What are we talking about? We're like, Needle's asking for Orisa to fly. What are we talking about? What do we mean? A lazy argument. What? Oh, got him. Okay, let's say that. The gameplay loop is still absolute fucking dog shit.
Over there.
You solve nothing. But I just have a hard DPS more though. I got the Mercy. I think I think Maga Hog will be worse than Double Shield. I get to nerf the abilities, they just lose. Kind of like when you get a Hog right now, you just lose your switch. Like. Spilo's chill. It's just like people just be saying shit, you know? They just be saying shit. Like our streamers are, the Blizzard streamers are asking for Orisa to fly. That's where we're at. You know, and it's like, and they still don't realize that they're insane yet. What are we doing? Wow, that was a weird little slide. Holy shit. Oh my god, a healer.
Meteor strike.
What the fuck? Smackdown 60 months. What's up, dude?
Rockets are fuel.
I've come too far to stop now.
Drop those goons off the payload.
Out of the game. Well, again, it's like. Hold on.
Meteor strike.
Oh my god, I'm getting healed. Holy shit. Like, buddy, if you want to keep forcing Sombra, like, I'm just gonna ruin you. Like,
find cover.
well, it's just like, again, like the gameplay loop is the biggest issue. Tank design does have to be one-dimensional, but the gameplay loop is the biggest problem. You've created a very boring gameplay experience.
I've got you in my sights.
Down and out.
Enemy.
Where is he?
Over there.
The game was special for all roles in 6v6. It's not special in all roles in 5v5. It's a cold, hard truth, Phil.
Meteor your strike.
Alright, force Nano Doom back. Keep the Mercy. Give her what she deserves. I do not need to chase that.
Better, I hope. Just keep that coming.
Yeah, the game was there's a dozen ways you can solve queue times. There's not a dozen ways you can solve the gameplay loop issues for tank.
I see one.
They're losing to Spilo. This is crazy.
We have an understanding.
Like the queue times were horrible because the game was abandoned. They didn't put new content in it, and the game was paywalled in a free-to-play market with no marketing. The devs abandoned the game. They literally said, "We aren't working on this product anymore," and then people wonder why queue times go up. Because why would the customer care about a product that the actual creators of the product don't care about either?
That's better.
10 seconds.
All together, everyone.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to be able to break this pylon.
Prepare yourself. Meet your strike.
Oh, we won with Sparrow. I don't believe it. So, like... Hold on. Game was $10, not a paywall issue. Like, any barrier to entry with a payment is a big deal, usually. But no, like, there are dozens of ways to improve queue times per role, and you've seen this happen across every role, not just tank. It wasn't a tank unique problem. In Season 7 of Overwatch 2, DPS queue times were instant, right? Because no one wanted to play a role that wasn't impactful because they made support too good. The same problem was the problem with tank in Overwatch 1. I avoided Sparrow, right? Yeah. Imagine we had a good meta in Overwatch 3 where everyone enjoyed it, then they gave Gigabuff Mauga, and then they said, all right, we're leaving to work on Overwatch 3. That's what happened to Overwatch 1. Yep. Thank you, Benjamin. I appreciate it. I thought Yeedle's video had a few interesting ones. I didn't like that. I hate the idea of making Winston secondary temporarily shut down guns. Yeah, yes, I do hate that. No player should make me not be able to shoot.
Select your hero.
That is absurd. Like, do you see what I'm saying? The fun in 5v5 to make tank fun has to come at the expense of someone else. It's really dumb that we're going to have to wait another year and a half of these kids fucking twiddling their thumbs, not understanding the game before they realize, yeah, this was a shitty idea. It's just like, I don't know, wasting my time. Yeah.
Our future will be forged in conflict.
No, I'm streaming.
Keep frowning and you'll end up looking like me.
You
think
mean
so.
you weren't born like that?
I was not. Were you?
I'm streaming.
My job keeps you guys alive.
Like we're like guys, like again, it's just gonna be a big fat waste of time, and like I get it.
I hope you put up a fight.
It's just stupid. One game was like we're 10 seasons in. This game's already getting bland. One game lasted forever. So I don't know.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Give up 5 for 6v6 back. No one else is going to. That's why I've gotten so heated about it. Like the shilling for 5v5 is embarrassing. It just is. Like that's what made me mad about it. Like I didn't care that much at first, but then how people reacted to it is what pissed me off. I'm so excited to play against Light Blue. Oh. It's just a Moira every game. Alright, got him. Needed to force that angle on the side. Did you have fun playing? Did you have more fun playing Sigarissa? No, I did not. But that was a balance issue. That was not a format issue. Double shield sucked. I told the devs how to fix it. I was right. They didn't listen, and then they fucking ruined the game. So. Yeah, 6v6 is easier to balance than 5v5 because the abilities don't have to be as strong, so you can leave more room for player agency. Especially the tank role in this game, it's really difficult to balance.
I am ready to unleash my ultimate.
Dragon strike is ready.
Go hog. Change in the game. 5v5. And the Overwatch 2 branding. We wait another season or two. Make sure we get our 6v6 packs right. We do a massive marketing rebrand like Overwatch, just back to Overwatch. Shed the Overwatch 2 nonsense because nobody's falling for it. And then make our game good again. You're welcome. You're welcome, Alari. You're welcome.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
For 4 to 6 years? Yeah, it was because the devs abandoned the game. And the one time they actually started doing their jobs and patching the game, it was good. October 2020 was the best state Overwatch has ever been in. No. Fog. You remember when the devs finally like put roll queue in the game and then they balanced the game well and they were updating the game constantly before they quit for the new one and they were done listening to Jeff Goodman fuck up Brig 30 times and then the game was like really good and the queue times were good and everybody loved it because they like actually did their job. Yeah, me too, man. I remember that. Ironically, their approach now would be better for that and would work better.
Meteor strike.
They almost just, you know. Fortnite. Oh god. I feel like we should try to give properly 5-5 not properly balanced it. See, that's dumb because the issues with 5v5 Rollock are not caused by balance. They're caused by the format. So it's a waste of time. Why? Ask yourself this. Why did these problems specifically not exist in Overwatch 1? Overwatch 1's problems were all balance related. But counter swapping and all this shit, this is all new. The tank experience being like this is all new. The tank shit being bad in Overwatch 1 was CC and MOs denying value. That was balance, right? No matter how you balance the game, you can't change the worst format in the gameplay loop that 5v5 forces that is one-dimensional and boring. That is the problem. There's no point in balancing it because it's not a balance issue. It's like if you break your arm. It's like if you break your arm and then you're like, well, there's this new leg surgery that came out that can fix all this shit. We should try that before we put you into fucking arm surgery to fix your arm. What the fuck are we talking about? They're two completely different things, right? Don't want to bring 66 back. I mean, the game's just fated to be mid at best forever. And I think it actually will slowly die out. It doesn't, because it has way less of what made it unique and fun. Like Overwatch 2 is worse for casuals. Overwatch 2 is significantly worse for casuals.
Meteor strike.
Are you fucking serious? Yeah, I think if I have to play with Ilari Mercy for one more second, I think I'm gonna fucking get off Doom.
Regret is for the weak.
This is what I mean.
I am ready to unleash my ultimate.
That's what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness. Yes, Mercy player, I am the problem. Not my Tracer doing that. That actually is cool. Guys. I make the hook. Swap off Doom! You're only carrying the game! Sam, can you react to Spilo's argument? Where is it? I haven't had any rats today.
Switching sides.
Mercy Quill, I've died once. I know what they're saying.
This is your warning. Our future will be forged in conflict.
Yes.
Keep frowning and you'll end up looking like me.
You mean you weren't born like that?
I was not. Were you?
It's an hour long? Ah, fuck.
Does everyone know the plan?
Do you guys want me to... Do you guys want me to react to that or play the game?
I have my eye on you. I have my eye on you.
Yes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're my Bible.
The payload is progressing.
Enemy over here.
I was made for this.
That guy's not playing new Sombra.
Enemy sighted.
Dude, I swear to God, some of this shit is so like...
A challenger. Ready for a knockout?
Bash.
Enemy here.
Enemy over here. Where are you? Careful.
We're just getting fucking owned.
As though I needed the help.
Why isn't the payload moving?
Wait, wants to see Sam play is insane. Well, nobody wants to play the game in general, so... Okay, they backed. Wow, they gave it.
Payload is advancing. As it should.
Forgiveness. Enemy here.
Well done. Charging.
Half killed here, by the way. Where is she? I'm gonna go for this wide side so she can't.
For its meteor strike.
I just am like this Alari should PayPal me, seriously. This Alari should just PayPal me. I think.
Forgiveness is earned. I have my eye on you.
Okay. Got it.
Take heed.
Yes. No.
I'm on fire.
Killing pylon deployed.
We just forced the Suzu out.
Enemy C.
Group up with me.
Stay near my pylon.
You can't hide. Enemy marked.
Meteor strike.
Apagando las luces.
Remember all that CC they were from the game?
Do not make this a habit. A challenger. This is your warning.
I told I cannot punch him again like that.
Feel my might.
Sorry.
Prepare yourself. I see treasure sink for mine.
Why did my... You know what?
Behind you.
Rocket bot.
That's more like
Where is she hiding?
My ultimate is ready. Use your strike, ready to be unleashed. Meteor strike.
Yeah, you solved that. What happened to me right there via balance. Like, holy shit.
I like how that.
Like, dude. Like,
Play of the game.
I'm plat on tank. That guy's plat? Wait, was he cheating? Alright, listen guys. Do we want to react to Spilo's video or do we want to play? What do y'all want? Overwatch content has all become about reacting instead of playing the fucking game. Alright, let's react to this. Jesus. Alright. Okay. Let me... Before we do this... Let me get a banana real quick. I'm hungry. Hold on. All right. Okay. All right. I will do it. The Overwatch 2 tank problem solved. Hint, the answer is 6v6. Okay, well. Let's ignore that. Ignore that Slack message. Okay. Let me... Before I fucking leak on accident, let me turn off my Slack notifications. Okay. Okay. So I love Spilo. He brings Spilo. The reason why I like Spilo is because he's not an idiot. So many people have bad takes, but Spilo actually like understands the game. So we're gonna go 1.25x. Let's do it. Oh my goodness.
Issue of tank and Overwatch. Is this problem even fixable? Now I know some of you are going to be saying, oh, but it's a 6v6 issue, and you may be right. Definitely may have exacerbated some of the issues with tank as a whole. But I think for us to really answer the question, we actually have to look outside of Overwatch. Tank as a role in general, whether it's MMOs in a PvP or
No, we don't. All we have to do is look at like how tanking works in Overwatch. We can take inspiration from other things, but like we already know how tanks work in Overwatch in general. We know how they worked, what people liked about them, what people didn't. So I wouldn't say that we have to look outside, but we can take inspiration from other places. But that's how a lot of games work. Is like taking inspiration from other places is always fun.
Or even a PvE situation is a really problematic role. People don't want to play it. People don't know how to make it function in a PvP environment where you can't make people shoot you. And when you do, you have to decide if that's actually fun for the tank or fun for the person shooting you. And how do you make this role bigger and more powerful without making it the most important person in the entire battlefield? Or maybe it is the most important person, and maybe it's a complicated discussion. And so we're going to be getting into this philosophy and the psychology of what tanking actually is, not just in the first-person shooter genre, but in Overwatch and the gaming situation as a whole. And I'm gonna actually
but like again, like this is just whataboutism kind of in my mind though. Like I'm not flaming him here, but it's like I don't care about how tanking works in other games. Like I care about how tanking works in Overwatch, right? You know.
My Twitch chat pulled up on the video so that you can check that out and find out some of the discussion in the discourse. We're going to be talking a lot in detail about not just the 5v5 and 6v6 format and how we need to nerf tank busters, but overall, is there a way that we can reconcile the psychology of what a tank is supposed to bring to the table without necessarily breaking the game? Is there nuance? Is there an answer to be found at all? All these questions and more. Let me know what you think in the comments. Enjoy the video. So let's start with this. What is a tank? What do you guys think a tank is? What is a tank? What does it mean to tank?
It is important to define things.
Are like,
though.
Oh yeah, we're Spilo viewers. We know what a tank is. Like you create space and you do the threat and stuff. But like, seriously, what makes a tank unique compared to the? Because that's the real question. Is like, don't tell me what tank does. Tell me what tank does that's unique compared to other characters in the Overwatch cast.
The ability to engage for space and kind of have like this little game of chicken and resource management, if you will, with other frontline characters. Like that was what made tanking fun. Like bubbling perfectly on your Reinhardt and being more efficient than their Rein Zarya or Monkey Diva or whatever it may be, right? Just from your positioning, spacing, split-second decision-making, and the flexibility to create space and read cooldowns to understand where you can go on the map. And when it's in the hands of the player and it's like you have all that decision-making in front of you, the game's really fun.
Frontline, initiator and spear of the push, suffering to juice out the wazoo and bust. Okay, I should have read that one. Tempo controller, space. We have a higher IQ, initiator, fat health bar. Yeah. Hey, but do you see how like this is not a super easy question to answer, especially in Overwatch 2. Back in Overwatch 1, it was you created space, or at least that was our current understanding. But not only as the game has changed, but also as our understanding as the game has changed, we kind of understand that like really every character has a responsibility to create space. In other words, every character needs to be a threat or supporting threats to control and create space. And what does space mean? It means getting, like let's say I want to take this high ground here. How do I take this high ground when there's a soldier on it? Well, I'm going to jump onto the soldier, force him to back up so that now that my soldier can take the high ground. But also, why am I relying on my tank? What if I'm the soldier? What if I'm the soldier? Can I take a flank to contest this guy and maybe win the duel and force him out so that he's not shooting my team, right? What if I'm Kiriko? Well, I have freaking wall climb, right? I should be looking to help heal my team and then shoot the soldier myself or make him look at me so at least he's not shooting my vulnerable people on me.
Drawing
right?
aggro.
So to me, important. Okay, this is where I think the definition of tank is.
Drawing aggro is super crucial. Like understanding when you can draw aggro, when you can't, is like one of the most important things of tanking too. And it's all in the brain, so it's really fun.
My notes here. This is where I think the definition of tank is. I think the definition of a tank is somebody that creates space for longer and does so generally in closer ranges. So what's the difference between a tracer in the backline and a wrecking ball in the backline? Tank just generally has longer pressure cycles. Well, there are some exceptions, but for the most part, like an Orisa can flank, but an Orisa's going to live.
As much power usually,
and she's going to live, and she's going to live. So what ends up happening is you create space, you create pressure, but you do so for longer cycles. You guys get what I'm saying? And there's one other thing that we talked about, right? How many poke heroes do we have in the tank role? Seriously, think about it. Compared to Widowmaker and Ana and Zenyatta and freaking Symmetra, right? Not you guys are saying one, but really think about it even from Sigma's perspective. I can't even hit that second robot. Look at that. I can't even reach him. Bro, I can reach this guy easier with a freaking Mercy pistol.
And yeah, but like you don't need to because you have your shield.
So you have like Malga who can kind of do some work here, but obviously it's awkward. You have Orisa, which has no fall off, but she has such a massive hitbox, she gets smoked, so it's situationally, right? Ram, kind of, but he's obviously a slower moving projectile. There's no hit scan here. Where am I looking for, right? But really, we don't have a lot of tanks that do very well. And even the tanks that do, Malga, Orisa, and Ram, the irony is these are all brawl tanks. These are more effective in closer ranges.
Every tank in this game is being designed as a brawl tank now, so it just feels like that at least. But we'll see. They all kind of have to be able to exist in the same gameplay cycles, unless they make another Sigma in which that hero and Sigma will just compete for the same spot. But I don't want another Sigma. I think heroes designed like Sigma ruin the game.
So we really don't have a raw hard poke
Well,
tank.
didn't
The
ruin the
closest
game.
thing we
Made
ever
the
had
game
to it was
less fun.
Overwatch 1 Orisa because she could shield, then shoot. But even then, she was significantly weaker at range. They're all stronger up close.
Yeah, they are.
So why is that the case? Why is that the case? And there's some psychology behind this. All right, I want you guys to ride with me here.
Well, again,
right?
if you're gonna be able to hold like as much space, like what makes each role unique is that like they have to excel at certain things and not be as good at others, right? Like giving a tank an insane amount of range damage when they already have insane health and damage mitigation abilities. Their weakness is that they aren't as good as damage, right? At least generally speaking, if you were going to compare it to like DPS or support, or they also can't heal unless you're Roadhog, right? Or Mao guy, I suppose. Yeah, let them talk.
Really important psychology here. When we talk about psychology, we are attracted either in a negative or a positive. Our attention is taken by proximity. All right. That's one of the reasons why Widowmaker is such a problem, because she's so lethal, but she doesn't get close to you. So she doesn't feel lethal. I mean, it's hardwired in us as human beings outside the video game. Proximity is threat. Proximity is threat. We look at things that are close, right? So
I'm not sure how relevant that is
Tank's
here, though, but
job is to create space, bait attention,
Yeah.
and do so for long periods of time.
And that's one of the
and
most,
why tanks are
and
so
that is one of the most valuable things you can learn as a tank is drawing aggression at the right times. Nobody really talks about this, but like that's how I play like Doomfist, right? And that's how I play DPS Doom too. Like I kind of played DPS Doom a lot like a tank, in that like I would draw maximum aggression up to the very limit of what I could take, and it would create opportunity for my team.
So good at it in comparison to DPS is that in general, tanks get close to you. And this is loud. And this has your attention. And the hard part that I sometimes have as a coach is training people to sometimes know when a tank isn't a threat, even when the tank is close.
Exactly.
So what ends up happening is tanks exploit the psychology of things that are close are more threatening. And so what ends up happening is, let me give you guys an example. A Winston jumps your backline and a Tracer's on the flank. What is easier to look at? The Winston that jumps you as a support, or the Tracer that's also shooting you in the back?
Most players will look at the tank.
It's way easier.
Good players recognize it,
unless
though.
you specifically trained yourself to mark
Especially
Tracer,
at
right?
the floor.
You're looking at Winston. Yeah, no, you're giving me the smart answer, but people are gonna look at Winston, right? Why?
Yeah.
Because he's close. He's up in your face. He's loud. He's big. And so that's how tanks work. Is tanks create threats like DPS, but they're louder about it, and they can do it for longer. And so what ends up happening is they create space more effectively and more consistently than DPS because of that psychology. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the reason why this is important, is because that psychology is a double-edged sword. Do you understand? Because when's the last time that you guys have played Winston? How did that situation go? What did the enemy team do?
The counter swapped you. They just fucking rolled you. They picked Weaver, Moira, and
What do
then
they swap
Bastion,
to?
May, and shit.
What do they
just
do
can't
when you
play the
jump
game.
in? Bastion, Reaper, Malga. And even if they don't counter swap you, everybody looks at you. Everybody looks at you. And that's great for your team, but it can feel not super rewarding for you, especially if you're not going into it with the right mindset. So the problem is, and what makes tanks effective in Overwatch 2 is the fact that they're big, loud, and generally shorter range. What makes tanks not super fun is their effectiveness. So chat, the irony here is that tanks are very powerful in Overwatch 2. The tank role is the single tank is probably the most powerful position in professional Overwatch and in any ranked game, probably, but it doesn't feel like it because your value is not through necessarily being the hot, flashy guy. It's about securing as much attention and as many resources and living to tell the tale.
And that's a worse experience.
You understand? How many of you guys have heard that tank is super
that's not fun for a video game. And 5v5 made it so that, again, where tanks could get value in Overwatch 1 compared to Overwatch 2 was the resource exchange between the tanks at the start of the game, to where like you led off the fight engaging with your counterpart, and because your resources, including your health bar and your abilities, were significantly more limited, and the tank roll passive wasn't in the game, so you could farm your ult first if you were gapping the other tank, right? Because that's who would exchange with each other. You could be more efficient and outplay each other, right? Until double shield, and that was just like they had so many stats in the Overwatch 2 tank design on both Orisa and Sigma, right? That ruined the game. So like, yeah, like in 6v6, that wasn't nearly as much of a thing because there was a direct way for tank players to win and engage and be more efficient than their counterpart. The direct value on the tank roll was attainable in the tank exchange. But because the stats on these tanks are so big and the supports are better and everybody has more health now, even more so in Season 9, that exchange is more and more meaningless, and it's better for you to counter swap than it is for you to just sit there and try to force what you're doing, especially in a ranked game. And this now happens at all ranks.
Weak in Overwatch 2 tank is super weak. No, it's not. It's, if anything, even more important and powerful than it was in Overwatch 1. It just doesn't feel like
it's not a weak role. It's just not a rewarding role, right? It's just not rewarding. And there are a lot of times where if you get counter swap, there's nothing you could do, which actually I guess you could say that's weak. You could say that's weakness, but I really think it depends on the hero. It's not weak if you know how to counter swap and play every tank in the game, but that just makes for an awful experience for most players.
And so our problem is how much of that tank identity are we willing to not compromise, but tune down, make tanks less big, less up in front of your face, more flexible with how they can play around that attention, versus do we want to leave tank versus without destroying what makes tank unique, which is the ability to close distances and be able to stay in your face for long periods of time.
It's hard.
You see, the thing is if you guys, how many of you guys ever played an MMO? How many of you guys ever played an MMO before? All right. Or right. All right. So what does a tank do in an MMO, in a PvE environment?
Okay, tanking an MMO it does not matter. This is not, we're not an MMO. We are Overwatch. We are a shooter. It's like again, like it's apples to oranges at this point. Like it's not even worth discussing this.
What does a tank do? Right. Meat shield, right? Just stand there. And how do they do that? They have taunts, shouts, different ways of forcing the enemies to shoot them, right? The robot enemies are too stupid to really understand who the real threat is.
What was so cool about tanking in Overwatch, and like what I liked about my favorite tank heroes was like the mechanical aspect of it, like the FPS aspect. Zarya, Winston's all right, Ryan's all right, but Zarya, like Diva's tracking, you know, shit like that was awesome. Fuck Roadhog though. Fuck Roadhog though. Junker Queen hitting the knives, Doomfist hitting the punch, right? Following up with the cannon, you know. You aren't a tank player. I play every hero in this game. I play every single hero in this game at a really high level. So I would say that I am a tank player. I play everything. I'm rank 1 combined many times. Okay, so I am a tank player. But yeah, no, I think that's what I loved about playing tank, particularly off tank was the role I played the most. But yeah, no, like that aspect of what tanking was in Overwatch made it unique and different from every other game where tanking was boring, and that's what made it attractive to many people. And that's really gone now. So Ball's got very unique mechanical skill like involved with him. Obviously you have to aim, but like the PDs, the grapples, like he's a little bit of a niche on his own.
So you have taunts to force the enemies to attack you, right? That's how it works, right? You hold aggro. A lot of tanks in MMO, a lot of MMOs that I played anyway, don't really do any damage at all. So they force, because they can force attention through abilities. Like they force you to shoot them. The problem in PvP though, is that there's no such thing as a taunt. You can't force people to shoot you. People are smart. You're gonna be like, So what you have to do is you actually have to have tanks that are actually lethal.
You're wrong. Too many people are be shooting Doom Block.
Like you actually have to have tanks that actually do real significant damage because you can't force a real person to shoot you. So how do they do that? And again, that goes back to my point earlier, is they have to be threatening. Gokuja, thank you for the sub. They have to be threatening and they have to get close. You guys ready for this? This shouldn't be a hot take, but this might be food for thought. There should never, ever be a spam tank. Never. It should not happen. There should never, ever, in the future of Overwatch 2, there should never be a poke tank, a truly poke tank. Sigma, Orisa, Brawl, pokey, mid-range hybrids, that's fine, but there should never be a poke tank. What's a spam tank? Great idea. Seriously, think about it. What is a poke tank? Sigma's not a poke tank. Sigma works in poke comps because he has slightly more range. But again, this is the limit of my range, guys. Compare that to the entire DPS cast. The entire DPS cast, besides Reaper, in every single one of these characters has more potential to do damage at range than Sigma. How do you make a poke tank? It would just be a DPS.
No, you don't. You shouldn't. He's right.
So there should never be any attempt to make a poke tank because it's a oxymoron. You can't have a poke tank. You can have a tank that functions more in the mid range, but you can't have a long range tank. It's not possible. Not possible.
Yep.
So what we need to do is we need to ask ourselves, how much of our tanking experience do we want to be direct threat and the ability to counterplay things, and how much of it do we want to be smoke and mirrors, where you leverage the psychology of being big and in your face and learn to absorb?
What made Overwatch great was like the ability to get direct value on all roles, and they all had unique ways of doing that in an exchange in a format where each role had relatively even role power, right? Until, like, again, the design and the balance of the game got so out of whack, they never tried to fix it, right? That's why like the Ryan Zarya mirrors or like the Monkey Diva mirrors or like all these exchanges were so much fun. There were so many different ways to go about it because like again like the main difference is that the tank exchange is now completely gone. Had they removed CC and nerfed healing properly, like tank would have been really fun to play and you would have seen like pretty even queue times across each role, despite tank being the least popular role. This is what happened in October of 2020, right? Aaron just came out and like he might regret saying that at this point, but again, he said there was a point in time where all the roles were being queued evenly in a high masters and like low GM, that ballpark of SR. And the reason for that was because they actually balanced the game to make it fun. And now, because that tank exchange is not there, even though you removed a tank, like you've alienated so many people from playing tank because it's not fun, right? So it's just, we'll let them keep talking, but yeah.
Now, we know that the Overwatch 2 developers have a tankiness and damage spectrum. All right? That's what they said to me in person, where they're trying to find the balance between the tankiness and damage spectrum.
Yeah.
Generally higher damage tanks, generally not quite as tanky.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we can kind of keep in mind. What about Mei?
May has good range damage. She has no fall off.
Let's go through our notes here.
She has no fall off. Until this previous patch, Mei was one of the best. Like Mei was a sleeper poke DPS because you could one-shot Tracer, your icicles had no curve or like drop, and it had no fall off. So like if you were good with your icicles, you were fucking nasty from range because you had your wall to work with and you had your cryo form. So like Mei was like I told you guys that she and Torb were like really good heroes. You guys saw me like one trick Mei to like rank 13. I was ranked 13 on Mei, right? One tricking Mei in this game, rank 13. She was really good, and then they changed the health pools and did a couple other things. I think she was bad. But Mei is good.
It's in 5v5. All right, let's talk about that really quickly, and so we can actually shelve that conversation, okay? Because the problem with tanking in Overwatch 2 is that it used to be that you had two people that pulled the attention, two space creators, so that not every cooldown and not every DPS and support could look at you.
And both of those space creators were weaker, which means if you set up properly individually on your own against two weaker space makers, you had two options that you could create mistakes on and punish, right? You had two different players that you could force to make a mistake that were right in front of you that you could get a kill on, right? And get direct value, similar to the DPS exchange, but just a very different style, right? But now because it's only one, everybody's looking at you, and your health and your cooldowns and their health and their cooldowns are so much higher that opportunity is almost non-existent. So it's all about existing and being stationary in the kind of the right spots and forcing the right things and then directly getting value. It's just not as fun. It's just not, right?
And so that took a little bit of mutual attention away from the other tank, right? You put all the attention on the Orisa, the Roadhog's going to punish you. So you look at the Roadhog a little bit, and then there's cooldowns are split here. Okay?
And there was decisions to make.
The problem with Overwatch 2 is now that all of those cooldowns, even if there is a little bit less CC in Overwatch 2, is now going on the one tank because it's psychologically attractive, okay?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, that is not discussed near enough, is that curse comes with a blessing. This is how Overwatch 1 used to function. You had your main tank, you had your off tank controlling an off angle, and then you maybe had a DPS and a support, and this is kind of like how it looked here, right?
Yeah.
The problem with this is if you're team blue here, and your tank isn't controlling space or whatever, and you're a support or a DPS looking to take proactivity, you got completely stuffed by the enemy off tank. Constantly.
It was much harder. Now,
off tanks and
it depends on the hero, right? It depends on the hero. Diva was much better at it than Zarya, right? Granted, but you could have just nerfed Diva. It really depends on the hero. That got harder when they started designing tanks to be more and more like Overwatch 2 tanks than Overwatch 1 tanks, right? Look at OG Zarya. Compare OG Zarya to Sigma. Compare OG Zarya to Malga or Ramatra or Queen, right? Those heroes all have so much more now, right? And that's a big part of the problem. Jeff Kaplan wanted to make make a difficult game easier over time, but what he didn't realize was by overkitting heroes, he thought he was making the game easier. What they actually were doing were replacing what made the original game's values flow and work and be fun, right? So honestly, like in Overwatch 1, you absolutely could kill one of those off tanks. It just depended on the hero. And again, what did they do over time to supports as well? They made healing stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. So the ability for these people to just stuff each other and have it become a stalemate got better and better. But that wasn't the format that caused it. It was the balance and the game design that was the problem. Hence why you saw Jeff Goodman's team attempt to nerf Brig 25 plus times, and it still didn't work. If your offense can't score in the NFL, it's probably because your offensive coordinator isn't good. And what do? You replace the offensive coordinator. You don't remove a receiver position from the field.
Overwatch 2 denied your ability to take space. They controlled a lane, and because they were a tank and you were a DPS, you could poke it out. Now, because the tank pools were a little bit lower, you could poke them out and eventually win that lane, but it was difficult and it took time. The advantage of one tank is that these lanes are more clear because wherever the tank is, even if it's not on main, if they're there, this lane is not clear. There's more flexibility for both DPS and support players, and there's more responsibility to be able to take space. And that's why I like 5v5. But we do need to solve the fact that there are now 2 tanks worth of cooldowns going on 1 tank. You are not forced to frontline in 5v5. That is a complete myth. I've heard that from a lot of high-ranked players. Those high-ranked players are idiots, and they do not understand the game of Overwatch. I'm being a little facetious here, but it's true. That is a complete myth.
You don't need to frontline promo.
So you have to, as a tank
there
in
are
solo,
certain points where you have to contest, but like you're sitting there hard frontlining and brute forcing CDs is not always the answer.
Choose what lane do you want to shut down? What angle, what space do you want to shut down? Do I want to control space on main? Do I want to control space on left? Where's my matchup? And so on. So what we have to do here is we have to go, okay, so now there's 2 tanks worth of cooldowns going into 1 tank, all right? How do we allow this tank to survive this attention without this person being an unstoppable wall of absolute murder?
This is where it gets fun. This is where I
because
love
one of the criticisms that I've been hearing, and it's a fair criticism, is I've been pushing for more counterplay for the tank options. The problem is how do you give a tank counterplay options, mitigation options, without making it unstoppable? And I think that the answer has to be skill play. Like, you have to have skill play. The problem right now is that we have too many tanks that don't have...
Because at the best, it's going to take away from the experience in other roles. Because if you're a support and you hit your cooldown, you should get value. If you're a DPS and you hit a cooldown, you should get value. The override abilities and the straight up objective denials ruined what made Overwatch so much fun and have so much depth, right? But you have to design tanks that way for them to be able to have an enjoyable experience. This format forces more overrides, but that's not what made Overwatch a great game. What made Overwatch a great game and what makes gaming fun in general is when it's in the player's decision, not the game's power. And that's why things like Immortality are bad for the game. That's why Brig was bad for the game. That's why even Moira right now, just pick the character. You instantly are like 10 times better. Bad for the game in some aspects, right? So like, sure, there are ways for you to maybe make tank a little bit more fun in this game in that, okay, we'll just give it override abilities. Well, now you've taken away from the experience from the other 2 roles. There's like, it comes at a cost in 5v5. In 6v6, there was an organic way to do it where it wasn't like taking away from other roles. But this is what you're kind of forced to do now. And it's just not better game design because, again, it does what counter swapping did too, in that counter swapping now is a problem compared to what it was. Look at this pause right here. It's funny. Counter swapping now is more of a problem because you get rewarded just for picking the character. 30% of it is how you play. 70% of it is how you pick the right character. And this happens to all ranks now where it used to not happen at all to low rank players. That's a worse gameplay experience.
Any way of outplaying CC or crowd control. See, here's a hot take. I actually don't think a hero like Winston, I don't think his problem is crowd control. Why? Because he has the capability of outplaying it. It's a skill play. I don't think D.Va has a problem with crowd control either.
She doesn't.
Skill play available. Yeah. Zarya? Not really. Skill play. Right? Even Ryan to an extent. The problem with the characters like Winston are more things like Bastion and characters where there's more easy direct value available. And there's more problem for characters like Roadhog. They don't have any counterplay at all. Right?
Fuck Hog.
So
but again, like, even
CC,
if you solve all that, like, the gameplay loop for tank is still one-dimensional and boring. Because, well, first of all, you can't really solve it because it's going to come at the cost of something else. But even say you found some magical way to make 2 + 2 = 5, right? Let's say that's what you did. You worked some magic and you did it, okay? Your gameplay loop is still one-dimensional and incredibly boring. The big combos in the game fun does not equal balance. I agree. You still won't make it as fun. It just kind of is what it is.
Good idea. Yes. So if we gave, okay, hear me out, guys. If we gave Doomfist the capability of outplaying crowd control with skill, not just flat out invulnerability. We're not talking Ram Block. We're not talking Malga Cardiac. We're not talking Orisa Fortify. We'll talk about that in a little bit. All right. But you gave Doomfist the ability to counterplay crowd control so that he was able to pose a threat without being immediately punished. You would take the edge off of the bad tank experience. So what would you do? So you give Doomfist the ability to counterplay crowd control. What do you do then now?
Never pick Ana because she's fucked.
What do you do then? I think you either need to make him less lethal or you need to turn down his raw survivability. You understand? The problem with Overwatch 2 tanks right now is that a lot of their survivability comes through their health pool. And not enough survivability comes through their ability to counterplay CC and burst damage. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Ryan is a great example.
It's inherent value.
I mean, guys, this guy has, how much HP does he have? I'm in the practice range, but how much does he have? Like 700 HP? How much armor? I mean, half his HP in armor? It's ridiculous. He has so much HP. But yeah, he could still die quickly. It's not an HP problem. He just doesn't have a consistent way of, and we'll talk about Ryan and my suggestions, but the same thing with Doom. Like, do you think if we gave Doomfist the ability to outplay crowd control with skill, do you think that he could lose 25 HP? Do you think that he could lose some of the shields that he gets from using his abilities? Because he'd actually be able to allow him to use his abilities. Do you think Ryan's bigness is psychologically causing him to get focused? Yes, I do.
Yeah. Shoot the big guy. But
like
again,
with Hog,
you can try to mitigate the problem, but it's still there. And it's still, like, you can't actually solve it, right? You still haven't made tanking fun. Because you're still just going to get shot at the most. There's still not an exchange up in front of you where that really, really matters. And if you have more override abilities and reduction to CC, that might make the tank exchange even worse as well, because now there's just more abilities overriding each other. So your tank exchange still doesn't exist and your direct value is still not as much, like, still not there. And now, because there's these override abilities, even if they're a skill, right, they're still overriding and completely denying other people's value. So it comes at the cost of their experience too. There's no universe that Doomfist should ever be able to block a sleep dart. There's no universe that Doomfist should ever be able to break a hack other than shooting the Sombra. There's no universe that Doomfist should just be able to completely mitigate a hinder, right? Because those are the things that are designed to slow him down, right? So that even if you give him, like, the ability to, like, skill, like, outplay it, like, it comes at the expense of something else. And that's the problem in 5v5. It always will come at the expense of another role, because this game was designed, and most of the time in open queue, it still played this way with 2-2-2 in mind. There were, like, obviously there were triple tank comps and, like, there were iterations of other stuff, but, like, generally speaking, a lot of metas defaulted to 2-2-2. So, like, I love Spilo's line of thinking. I love his line of thinking. Like, to give him credit amongst, like, of all the people who are talking about how to solve the tank problem, Spilo's probably the only person I've seen with the actual brain power to come at the issue the right way and not just sit there and be like, in the Iron Jake debate, be like, oh, well, just don't play tank. Or, like, you know, well, I'm not a tank player. Or, like, all this stuff. Like, he's the only one, like, really thinking about it and not saying, let's let Orisa fly. Shout out Edel. But, like, I love this conversation, because this is the conversation that, like, people who just blindly defend 5v5 need to have to come to the realization that you can't fucking fix it. You can't. He's intellectually honest, and he's actually challenging the ideas in the proper way. So I'm actually glad I reacted to this, because this is interesting.
If he could cleanse himself, but he won't have 50% damage mitigation.
Someone with a brain. It's
so the
nice.
reason why we're talking about this is that even though tank does provide a lot of value right now, the problem is not the value, it's how the value feels. You guys have to, like, one thing that I've learned the more I've coached and taught is you have to consider psychology. Again, tank is just as impactful, if certainly probably more impactful than it was in Overwatch 1. I don't care what anybody says. They don't understand. Tank is extremely impactful. Being a solo tank means that you have the capability of pulling everybody's attention onto you and living if you play it well. It's just not always very fun. So we have to, ironically, take a little bit away, potentially, of tank's impact and shift it to other roles, but make tank feel more fun. So with a character like Doomfist or Wrecking Ball or Roadhog, they need less raw survivability, indiscriminate survivability that is super helpful. Like, think about Roadhog. You can't kill a Roadhog if you don't have CC. You can't do it. You don't. You're playing Moira and Lucio, and you can't kill him. You can't kill him. It doesn't happen, right? But all of a sudden, you got a nade or a Discord, and they're dead.
Counter swap.
And then that's the problem, is those extremes, where.
But then again, like if you're solo tanking, then especially for low ranked players, and you have to lower health pools, which I agree, it's like nobody talks about this. It is significantly harder to secure a kill on these characters unless you pick the right thing in this game, right? It's not better for DPS in that regard, right? In that you are answering at the floor, not with execution, to the power of what they've done to this game, right? The skill ceiling and the skill floor have been crunched together. Even more so, right? It's always been counter watch. Widow always had to be countered. Yeah, but it wasn't this extreme, right? It's more extreme now. Even for Doom, like his health and like his survivability, but like the low ranked players who make mistakes need the health or else they get fucked. So now you're driving more people away from the role. Like at the ceiling, sure, people can do that. But what about the floor, right? And this is why like a lot of this stuff is just easier to solve in 6v6 to make the experience more fun as well. Right? It's just so much easier. You're boxing yourself in here now to a format that like makes your job 10 times more difficult, and it's just so hard to do. I think it's impossible. Right? So yeah, and this is my guess is that people this will be the video that makes people kind of get it. Oh fuck.
You don't have crowd control, you feel the HP that Roadhog has. But if you do have crowd control, you don't even feel the HP if you're playing the Roadhog. And that's the extremes that we have to address. And Samito, I saw somebody link me something where he said something like, oh, well, we don't want all tanks to be homogenous. I respect Samito a lot, but I find that to be a lazy argument. Samito's idea is that in 6v6, we could have
also,
more extreme.
That's more of, I'll be honest, that's more of Hawk's argument than mine. Hawk's gone into this in more detail than I have. But I do agree with him that like, I don't like the idea of having generalists across the board. I don't. Though, particularly, having generalists across the board could be better if the gameplay loop is solved, which is my biggest thing. My biggest thing is the gameplay loop. But I will listen to him, and I will say this is more of Hawk's point than mine. But I do agree with Hawk 100%.
Extreme designs, just like there are in the DPS cast, because the second tank that you pick would help cover those weaknesses. For example, if I'm picking Roadhog, I'm very vulnerable to CC. But if I play Roadhog with Orisa, I now have a tank that's going to capitalize off of a lot of the cooldowns that are being saved with the Roadhog, right? You can have this dynamic hedged bet, essentially, where you can't all counterpick me as Winston because my diva will farm you.
Too.
You get what I'm saying? And so Samito says that you're allowed to have more extreme designs when there's two of that design. Problem with that is it doesn't work in psychology. It might work at Samito's level. It definitely works in pro play. Although I think Jake makes a good argument that maybe some of those tank synergies leave no counterplay options available, like Winston Zarya. But the problem is that's not realistic. Let me give you guys an analogy. How many of you guys have done maybe some light work in investment?
Played that.
Nothing crazy, but if you
again,
guys familiar
like
with
nobody, like synergies that were strong weren't really played. Let me finish. Let them finish.
Are you guys familiar with diversification of your portfolio? You guys familiar with that term?
Yes.
What diversification is essentially where you invest your money in something, but if that goes poorly, you have like a balance so that overall you're riding the market going up in theory, but you're not leaving yourself vulnerable to chance. A non-diversified portfolio is a gamble. It's just a gamble. Is what it is.
And generally, from what I remember, that's very discouraged in investment.
If something goes badly, you lose all your money. If something goes great, you win all your money.
You want to be.
And 6v6 tanking was a non-diversified portfolio because you were reliant off of the enemy team or your team making that investment decision with you.
I mean, you still are now, but it's worse. You still are now. Like, I'm still relying on the guy to not get a fucking Hog 1 trick or a Doom 1 trick. Like, the same thing is still happening. But at least in 6v6, like, you actually as a team had more control over that. Right? Like, if I had the wrong tank matchup aside from double shield, right? Because tanks are more killable as a DPS player, kind of like you said too, where you literally just can't kill the Hog now. Like, I had more of a chance in that game, aside from the double shield meta, which was a design problem. That was a couple heroes that were problematic, Bat, Brig, Orisa, and Sigma, where they took all the counterplay out, where they made it so you can't crit Orisa when fortified, which was a horrible decision. Never fix Sigma, never fix Brig, and never fix Bap. Buffed those characters, actually, for some fucking reason. I don't know why. But you had more organic ways to actually, like, as a player, create opportunity and overcome that. Way more. But now it's like, okay, that's why you see more steamrolls now across every single rank. So maybe, sure, like, some of those combos were crazy strong at the ceiling of the game. And I can't believe I'm arguing for the casuals here because I never really said to balance for the casuals. But, again, like, now everybody has to do it, and it's just not as fun. But I'll let him continue. Because I don't think he was done finishing his point.
You guys ever played Age of Empires 2? In Age of Empires 2,
that game's funny.
Elephant. You could pick characters like this. This thing. It was really strong. Elephant, right? But it was really counterable, right? It was really counterable. You'd have halberds and there were like monks and stuff countered it and so on. And it was a meat shield that forced people to counter it. This is Roadhog, okay? This is Roadhog, right? The problem is that if I'm playing the elephant, when you're playing Age of Empires 2, you're not playing the elephant. You're playing everybody. You're playing the entire cast. And so if they counter your elephant, it doesn't hurt your feelings to diversify your battlefield with some archers, let's say, to counter the halberdiers, or maybe some scouts to counter the monks, right? The problem is if you are the one playing the elephant, you're not happy about being the one that's taking the enemy team's attention. And going back to our diversification of our portfolio, you are trusting your teammates to hedge your bets for you.
Yeah.
You understand? You're giving up your financial management of your portfolio and hoping that your teammates hedge their bets properly.
Okay.
You understand? Like if I go Winston, I need somebody to hedge my bet with a Diva or a Zarya, or heck, even a Sigma, right? But what happens if they don't do what you need them to do? And that's the problem. That's the problem. Now, you do benefit from having the attention split. But this is why 6v6
well, let him finish.
tanking was always a bit of a crapshoot. And the other problem is that saying that, extreme designs are more okay. What happens in Overwatch 2 when you have both Malga and Roadhog as your tanks? You have two extreme designs that are vulnerable to the same things. What happens if you have...
Okay, well, now that one player is still going to pick those one or two characters and they're still fucking vulnerable to it. Like, it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing, but again, in 6v6, you had the chance that wasn't going to happen because you would have the chance that the other player would pick something different. But now it's more extreme. It's the same thing, but more extreme. So, like, what are we saying? And now in 5v5, and this is like, you've seen this happen because you've seen the developers talk about more steamrolling matches in most ranks. Like, sure, like, I guess you could say, like, maybe at the high level play where you'd see more forced counter swapping kind of come in. I'm willing to listen to that, but like this has now been applied to the entire player base where they just pick fucking Hog and they just get rolled, right? And at the floor now, he's even more unkillable because he has that health pool that we talked about. Because in 5v5, they needs more health for most players, or else they'll just feed and never kill the roll at all, right? So like I see what you're saying, but again, I think the problem's worse now because they've come out and said and talked about steamrolls and like the wrong swaps and getting the wrong matchups. Like if that was worse in 6v6, then why are we talking about counter swapping being a bigger problem now than it was before? Because if the argument is that, well, okay, well, if you pick the wrong synergy or you pick the wrong comp and these two heroes are weak to the same thing, right? Then you automatically lost and you lost the game. You're depending on your team. Well, then why is counter swapping more important now than it was before? And the answer is that because there were two tanks, even if they were on the wrong synergy, because the frontline exchange mattered more and there was that one cooldown, the anti-nade, that could only be used on one of those tanks, the other tank, just by existing, helped cover for that weakness, right? Because there was an element of counterplay that put it in the player's decision-making, not the power of the characters for the game. And 6v6 lets that happen more organically. Even if you're picking the wrong synergies, you could still win when the game was relatively balanced well, which is easier to balance than 6v6, which is why you saw plenty of people winning on like Hog Diva and shit in October of 2020. I would play Zarya, Hog, Meat Grinder with Nateson and Quick Play 24/7 in 2020. And we would win, right? Against Double Shield. Because, like, again, there was so much more direct impact that tank players could get to decide the outcome of the game by closing it out and exchanging things with each other, even if they weren't as optimal, right? The big problem that came with tanking in Overwatch 1 that I think people universally kind of accept is, like, when the synergies were fucking double shield, when it was double shield, and that sucked. I get what you're saying, but, like, the same thing happens now, and I would say that with how strong counter swapping is in this game, I would say that it's proven to be a bigger issue now with the solo tank than it was when there were two, even if you were on the wrong combos, which most players didn't even pick the right combos anyway. They just enjoyed the player agency and the exchanges that happened.
Zarya and Roadhog on Watchpoint Gibraltar. You have two tanks that are vulnerable to the same things. What happens if you have Reinhardt and Orisa on Dorado?
I am still getting the Rhine one trick on Dorado. I am still getting the Rhine one trick on Gibraltar. I am still getting the Hog one trick on these maps, right? I'm still getting this. This is still happening, right? And it's more, and it's worse for the game now than it was before, because if you were on the wrong tank synergy, because every ability was weaker in Overwatch 1 and health pools were lower and support abilities were weaker, it was easier to secure kills when they actually came up and create opportunity to get those kills. Was it perfect? No. Nobody's saying it's perfect. You're right. This is a problem in both formats. But I would go out on a limb and say because there are more steamrolls in 5v5, which are caused by the wrong tank matchups, it's worse now than it was then. But he is right. It was a problem. But it's worse now. So, you know, that's...
What happens if you have Winston and Wrecking Ball on Circuit Royale? And the list goes on.
Yeah.
Now, I am bringing up worst case scenario here. My point being is that 66 is not, again, a magic pill.
It's not a magic pill. He's right. He's absolutely right. It's not a magic pill.
The difference between having that with one tank is that in our optimal 5v5 world, with tanks that have been scaled to Overwatch 2, is that you have tank designs that have tools and the capability to bend and mold to what the map provides.
You could do that in 66.
And that you as a tank, you are responsible for your own performance.
You could still have that in 6v6. Tell me why that couldn't exist in 6v6 with more gameplay loops and more direct value for the tank player. It could happen. It can happen in both formats. But again, ultimately, when there are two of a weaker version, it's better for every role, and the power doesn't have to come at the expense of another role. Right? So, like, again, he's not wrong, but, like, 6v6 would allow for that to happen better because it's in the player's control even more. Because his argument here, and he's right, is that it feels better for the player when it's actually in their control. Right? It does. Like, you don't want it to be in the power of the game. You want it to be in the power of the player. And he's completely right. But that happens less now than it did previously. And counter-swapping being even stronger in this game completely proves that.
And don't give me the they're all homogenized. They're all homogenized. Sojourn is freaking fun to play. Her rail is probably too strong.
It's the tanks. It's
and she's way better skilled than all the other ones, but she's fun to play. Jungle Queen with her shout and her poke and her range is freaking fun to play.
She's awesome. She is fun. She is fun. Junker Queen is really fun to play, except you can't play her on circuit ever in 5v5. Because she can't deny the sniper space by herself. But if there's two tanks on the map, they can do a better job of controlling space. And the reality is Junker Queen probably shouldn't get picked on circuit in 5v, like ever, in either format, right? Probably ever, right? She wasn't designed for that. But if you were a Queen one trick in 6v6, it would be easier for her to get played on that map than it would be now where it's just chalked no matter what. Again, 5v5 creates these extremes that you can't solve by rebalancing the game unless you make these heroes do everything and give her the fucking Spider Queen ability from April Fools. There's no way around that, right? So again, you're right. You can't do that. He is right. Except you'd have a better chance of being able to do it in 6v6 with actual exchanges that matter than you would in 5v5. There were plenty of Hog players that won on fucking Havana in 6v6. And I fucking hate Roadhog. They buffed him way too much, right? They did. They buffed him way too much in Overwatch 1. They removed his weaknesses, which was fucking lame, right? But again, like, both of these formats have the same, the same problem, okay? 5v5 just makes it more extreme and way more out of the player's hands than 6v6 did. And it's way harder to solve in 5v5 than it is in 6v6.
There are characters like Tracer who are flexible and fun to play. Genji, flexible, fun to play. Echo, flexible, fun to play.
But imagine if Genji was the only DPS on the field. Like, it'd be a very similar problem, right? Where if I'm playing Echo and they're playing hit scan, I'd probably have to swap off Echo because I wouldn't have another DPS to help me pressure their hit scan, right? It's like the same problem could be. That's a good skin too, by the way. I wish I bought that, but oh well. But yeah, again, like it's a similar concept. Like both formats do it. Just 6v6 is better for it organically,
right?
It's so hard to do it in 5v5. I think it's impossible personally, but
I would say the DPS is more difficult time as a result of 5 because they're forced to take more risky mechanical activities in order to control space. Yes, but that's because in 66 there was so much attention put on just shooting out the enemy tank from main or the off angle that you wanted to control. It was maybe more rewarding in terms of ticky, but you didn't actually have as much impact. You just
That's not true.
shot.
That's not true.
Now you actually
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. That was true when they broke the game and put horribly designed characters like Orisa and Sigma that you couldn't kill and Bap and Break that you couldn't kill. But the second that you played any of the actual well-designed characters that they spent time to fix and undo the mistakes they put in the game, that's not true. There were dozens of ways to impact the game. Right now, you only have like a one-dimensional option because you can't shoot the tanks anymore. Like if you shoot the tank, like they have to royally fuck up for you to get value. That's why you see games nowadays constantly where you'll get one limb per 1,000 damage and you don't have the big combos anymore because the off tank set up the big combo ults and the big setups to go get big kills and big plays. You don't have huge games on DPS anymore. You don't. It's incredibly boring and one-dimensional. The ceiling is lower. You have less options to do. And if you are a better player, you can absolutely create these opportunities, right? In every rank. But, you know, you absolutely could have more impact. Especially now, my good old Hanzo doesn't have his one shot anymore. Like, when I was playing Hanzo in Brawl Comps, dude, I was a fucking menace. I could kill anybody on the map. Even when you're playing Reaper or Mei. There were so many more opportunities you had to create things, right? And, like, to say that you couldn't impact the game because you were shooting at tanks, like, the tanks were killable. You had 2 tanks on the field that you could kill. Now you have 1 tank on the field that you can't kill because they have dozens of immos and plenty of time to react to it. You could impact the game in more places in Overwatch 1 in 6v6 as a DPS than you can in 5v5 right now. Just because the space is open to you doesn't mean you actually have more options, right? It's just a one-dimensional gameplay loop. It works. Sure, it works. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It's just not better. And it's certainly not more impact. DPS was so unimpactful in Season 7, the Q times were instant until they gave it a power creep passive that negated healing by 20%. That's what it took for DPS to get impact. So, like, I don't know. I wouldn't say that. That never happened in 6v6, but they never were willing to put it in the game. Could have killed goats, maybe, but I think that was a bigger issue to talk about with Open Q, Roll Q.
Make real plays. And I don't even know that there's always consistently. I understand what you're saying, Caffeine. I 100% understand, but there aren't always even necessarily 3 lanes.
There's not.
So basically, my thought with 6v6. I don't want to get too stuck into the 6v6 5v5 argument. Is that 5v5 you have more freedom as a support and DPS player to play make. Tank 6v6 also had the problem of the incorrect tank synergy. Meant that
you have less options. It's just more one-dimensional. Just because the path is right in front of you doesn't mean you have more. Okay. That's like going to a steakhouse and saying, like, I want my meal, and you order a steak and you get a steak, but it's supposed to come with sides, right? And then you say, oh, well, like, you can do more now because you're only eating this steak, right? But it's like, no, like, I had more when I could choose if I want to take a bite from my steak or my green beans or my lobster mac or any of that stuff, right? Removing one of those sides doesn't give you more options, right? Just because it's easier to make your decision because you have to eat the steak. That's your only option. Your only option is to eat the steak. You've taken away my sides, right? You've taken away my ability to choose what I want to eat. Because in 6v6, in Overwatch 1, aside from double shield, if one of the players on their team made a mistake on any role, I could go kill them, right? If I recognized it and executed. Now, the best duel I can probably take is their DPS because I'm never killing the tank. The supports all have MOs and super high health pools, right? So I only have one real choice most of the time. Yeah, I didn't phrase that analogy that well. You see, you guys no idea what Spilo was saying? So I'm out of touch. No, I get what he's saying, but you haven't given me more options. My path to get value is not more. You've only given me like 1 or 2 options when I used to have 3 or 4. 5, actually, before they put all the MOs in the game. And that's what made the game great. 6, really, because every player on the other team was killable, depending on how they played. But because all these heroes and abilities have been given this value on their floor via health pools, stronger abilities, it doesn't matter if they're making the mistakes as much. I only have 1 or 2 options, really. That's not more. That's less. But just because it's right in front of my face doesn't mean it's more. You've just made it easier for me to get there. But when I get there, it's actually harder because all the abilities are stronger. Lobster Mac is very good. I do love Lobster Mac. You don't have more options and some are easier to take. They're easier to get to. They're not easier to take, right? Every support ability is stronger. Every tank ability is stronger. BAP shift, burst heals now when you're dueling the BAP. Brig packs, instant heal. Kiriko is a hero. Diva has 4-second DM and more health. Zarya has 2 personal bubbles for herself and more health. Ryan has more shields and more health. Hog has a bigger health pool, can move around, same damage negation. Three-second DM, my bad. Same thing, right? That's not easier to duel. All of those abilities are stronger, and the players don't actually have to be better to do it. Does that make sense?
You were trusting your teammates to hedge your bets appropriately. And then also having extreme tank designs. I just don't think extreme designs are healthy for the game, period.
That's fine.
I don't think extreme designs are healthy for the game, period.
That's fine.
I just don't. I've never been an extreme design fan. Extreme designs are hard to balance, and they don't function as well. I think if you look through a lot of Overwatch 1's problematic characters, and this is where I think I really disagree with Samito, is that I think that like there's a lot of emphasis on like, oh, the extreme designs were okay because they split the attention, but extreme designs were really bad. Orisa, extreme design, not very healthy for the game.
No, she wasn't. Orisa became an Overwatch 2 tank. Orisa is an Overwatch 2 tank. She did everything. That was the entire problem with her. And you know this. They made her a better brawler than Reinhardt with ranged poke and a barrier. And CC. She wasn't an extreme design. She was a generalist, do-it-all character with no weakness. That was her problem. She's not an extreme design. She's an Overwatch 2 tank. She's the tanks that are designed now. Right? Give me 1 sec, guys. I gotta go to the bathroom, too. I really gotta pee. When you gotta go, boys. Sorry, guys. I had to pee really bad. But yeah, no. So, like, Orisa wasn't an extreme design where she had one thing she excelled at. She excelled at everything. And that's why she broke the game. So, like, first of all, I respect his, like, if he thinks that, like, extreme designs are bad, like, that's fine. You know, that's his opinion. That's cool. But, like, to say Orisa was not one of those examples. She was a generalist who did it all and could not die. So I'll let him say it again.
They split the attention, but extreme designs were really bad. Orisa, extreme design, not very healthy for the game, right? Roadhog, extreme design, not very healthy for the game.
Hog, sure. Hog, fuck Hog. Hog honestly was fine before they removed his. Actually, ironically, what made Hog really problematic in the latter half was that they removed his extreme design and removed his weakness. In that They gave Hog a unique passive that made him feed less ult charge, and that's what made his play rate skyrocket. He didn't have a weakness to where you could pick into him and then play around him well, right? They removed the weakness. They actually, I might disagree with them here actually. They generalized Hog by taking away his weak point, and that made him miserable to play against. Heroes are more fun to play against when they have a weak point that you can exploit. But in order to exploit it, you actually have to make the correct plays, and it's a game of chess and not checkers. So, again, what ruined both Orisa and Hog and made them really unfun to play against in the latter half of the game was when their weaknesses were removed and they became generalists. That's what ruined those characters. That's what made them really unfun outside of like OG Hog, where he was like hooking you through like 2 countries, you know? So I disagree.
Reaper, not healthy. Bastion, not healthy.
Reaper was fine. Reaper was a low rank stomper. Bastion was unique and it was only played on specific points. And the only time he was AIDS was when he was in double shield. I didn't mind playing against Bunker. I minded playing against Bunker with Bap and Brig. Like I don't Reaper was good in low ranks. I don't think Reaper was like unhealthy for the game in its entirety. But
we could keep going down the list. Junkrat, not healthy. Symmetra, initial design, also not healthy. A lot of these short-range, limited mobility characters, really, really not great for the game. Moira, limited design, not healthy. Mercy, and release Brig, the anti-dive character, killed the game, right?
Brig was not anti-dive. She did everything. Again, she was so powerful, she overwhelmed every playstyle because she was a generalist. She could do it all. She could deny duels and heal at the same time. Those heroes are generalists. They're not extreme design. Junkrat was corny. He never was like unhealthy for the game. He was a junk food DPS, right? Moira, I'm curious what his thoughts on Moira would be. I'd love to have that discussion in general. Moira, I have very mixed feelings on over time. I think Moira is very hard to tune. But no, like Brig, like again, Brig was supposed to be anti-dive, but she wasn't anti-dive because her healing went across the entire map with Inspire, and you didn't have to stay in it. She was just generalist stat monster with no weakness to exploit. Most of the heroes you just listed, Orisa had no weakness to exploit. Hog lost his weakness to exploit. Reaper, you know, again, I think Reaper had a fine place in the game. I don't think he was that big of a deal. I think people complain about him in gold because he could kill things, but he was unique in that regard, and it was easy to punish him if you picked the right characters, right? And did the right things. You could pick Hanzo, you could one-shot him if you hit your shots. You could pick Echo and fly around him and contest him from range, right? You could pick Cass and stun him. There was tons of counterplay to Reaper that was well within players' hands, right? The issue with these characters is when the characters are so strong because they're generalists that takes it out of the player's hands and puts it in the game. Kind of like Brig and Goats. If Brig doesn't have Inspire, Goats doesn't work. It doesn't. It does not work. And I think he'll agree on that. But Inspire wasn't anti-dive. It was overwhelmed stats. It was double shield. It was Overwatch 2 tank. So, like, I think you're wrong on some of these. Junkrat, I just think it's junk food. Moira is a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. Okay, can we stop about the Diva Soldier? There's no way that even in Overwatch 1, a Diva wins stage anywhere near a Soldier gets destroyed. That's not even an argument.
Metro would disagree.
But I also don't. So regardless.
Yeah, the Soldier matchup with the Diva was hard.
Let's talk about fixing. So okay, this is my final thing, though. The reason why I'm so focused on 5v5 is because we're not going back. What we mean by extreme design here? Okay, so extreme.
We're not going back? Who says we're not going back? Who says it? Blizzard? The same company who promised us a sequel? The same company who promised us PvE? The same company who took 25 plus times to try to nerf Brigida and still couldn't do it? The same company who has been record wrong, have the worst reviewed game on Steam of all time, who have proven themselves, unfortunately, at Activision Blizzard to be not capable whatsoever. The same people who got us in this mess are the same people that say that we're not going to get back. What if I had said before we went to 5v5, we're never going to leave 6v6? Or if I had said before open queue, we're never going to go to roll queue? We're just saying these things. Why? Why not? Because Blizzard said so? The same company that, and again, I'm not trying to flame Team 4 here at all, but it is relevant. The same company that said all of these things that never came to fruition? So I wasn't saying it's better. He's saying 5v5 is what I have to work with. So, see, and that's what I disagree with. Why? And again, like, this could be the creators that are closer with Blizzard saying this, but that's all the more reason that they should challenge them, right? That's all the more reason that you should challenge them on this. Give me a real reason, not we can't do it. Give me a real reason why we can't, because I can go play it in a custom game right now. Is it because the 2 on the logo that never should have been there? I'm not flaming Spilo about this. I'm talking about the argument in general, right? It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Right? I don't know. Again, this is what I'll say. I don't know what they told you guys at the Creator Summit, but I challenge all of you to challenge them because it doesn't solve anything. This problem will not go away. You can't stop it. You are perma-stuck in a worse game. Why are we wasting our time?
Dream Design is a character that does one thing and does one thing really, really, really well.
But let's get back to the argument here.
Right? 1, 2. You guys know what I'm talking about. Release Brig, right? Mercy, Pocket, right?
Release Brig did everything. Release Brig did everything. Mercy is a better example.
Sniper, got it, right? You guys understand what I'm saying, right? So, yeah, the attack defense heroes, right? And they learned pretty darn quickly that having that whole like extreme design character was fun because it was novel, but it did not age well the more and more and more the game was played.
The heroes that didn't age well were the generalists. Orisa aged like shit. Hog aged like shit. Sig aged like shit. People still love Rhine. They loved Zarya. They loved Diva. They loved Soldier. They loved Ana. They hated Brig. They hated Bap. They hated Moira. It's the opposite. The heroes that were specialists aged better than the heroes that did everything. Fuck Roadhog. I hate Hog. All my homies hate Hog. Fuck Roadhog. I hate Hog. What made me hate... I used to not hate Hog as much. Do you want to know why I didn't hate Hog as much? Because if there was a Hog player on the other team, I could exploit him because I would get ult every fight and be shitting ultimates out if he played poorly and I played well. But when they changed him and took away his weakness of feeding ult charge for nothing and no cost on the player, that's when his pick rate in high ranks started to skyrocket. And it sucked. Because no matter what I did to outplay him, I didn't get rewarded for him being bad and feeding. It's the opposite. The heroes that maintained weaknesses were more fun to play against because you as a player had a chance to punish them for it. But when you generally remove every weakness, there's no way for me to actually make a play to punish the weakness, which gave me an opening that the mind games and the psychology, if you will, of trying to create that opening came into play, which is what made Overwatch chess and not checkers. At its simplest, 5v5 just feels soulless, but that's not what he's saying. That's not what he's saying. So I completely disagree with them there. Like, we can list the characters that became generalists and the ones that didn't. And the ones that didn't were there was always a path for the player to make a play against them, right? And ultimately, it felt like it was in the player's control, which is less frustrating. But when the game shits on you and doesn't give you any opportunity, why would you as a player invest time into that when you can't change the outcome?
Right. And if you counter that, then it's no good. And we need to move past this whole idea of like, oh, well, if they counter you Widowmaker, you just swap. That's just rough, man. What if you don't have the capability to swap? What if you have a one trick? Like we're in a game where people are just not always going to want to swap. And don't tell me that we have to have homogenized characters.
We're in a game where people don't want to swap, and yet Overwatch 2 and 5v5 will always force them to counter swap significantly more than 6v6. It's not better.
Genji, Tracer, Sojourn, Echo, Ashe, I think, are all examples of characters that are not at all homogenous, but feel very different, very unique, and do have different strengths and weaknesses, but also have the capability of outplaying and working in different scenarios.
Oh, Genji's not outplaying beams. Echo is very flexible in that regard. Echo is incredibly flexible. I agree. Ashe, also pretty flexible and fun. Sure.
Ashe can work versus Brawl and dive and spam. Is she the best? No, but she can work.
Yep. Sure. I'll give you that.
In what way is Sojourn? Sojourn is one-dimensional. You guys have to understand, when we talk about one-dimensional, we're talking about like what is the character's range strengths, right? Is she close or is she long? right?
I think
And
Ashe is
she's
mid.
kind of somewhere in between. Same thing with Ashe.
Ashe is mid-range. Yeah.
Same thing with Genji. Genji can hard flank. Genji can hold a soft angle. There's choices with how you can position and how you do things. Doesn't mean that the character is perfect in design at all.
Sure.
But the general play style, there's how you position specifically.
Sure. Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So I don't agree with extremes in play style in that regard.
They don't have to be. I'll give you that.
More decisions to make, right? I think Venture's great. Venture has a lot of choices. They're obviously relatively short to medium range, but you have to make constant choices about which offing. Like Venture is a great example of a healthy short to mid range character because of the amount of decisions that you have to do with how you position.
Sure.
With how you can have all these different ways to
yes.
use your abilities.
Yes. He's right.
Like Venture gets screwed by crowd control, probably, but Venture also has ways of playing around the crowd control and baiting the crowd control.
Range is Venture's real problem. Range is Venture's real problem. You can play around that crowd control. Echo's hard. Echo's
hey, Tio Kais, I would drop that and ask Spilo. Right now, we're kind of on a topic, man. I'm sorry. Would I define Doomfist an extreme design? Doomfist, I would say no. I'd say Doomfist has aspects that are a little bit too one-dimensional. Like, for example, Power Block is really, really weak in certain situations and really strong in others.
He hates Power Block. I'm neutral on Power Block.
But because he can function okay in brawl comps and spam comps and dive comps. He's okay. He's got enough mobility, short-range potential, flanking potential. He can function. I think Widow is an extreme DPS as well. And I think, Pharah, for example, was an extreme DPS, but now she's less so. Iliari, yes, extreme. Iliari is one of my least favorite Overwatch 2 characters.
Pylon's broken.
Something better? You guys are harsh today. Caricatures? I mean, I feel like extreme describes it fairly well. Not polarizing. It's not emotional. It's not emotional. It's just, that's what they do. Niche. Yeah, niche is a good one. Specialized. Yeah.
Niche. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So the problem that I think a lot of people have when we talk about like 5v5 is that they will say, we don't want to give tanks the ability to counterplay CC mitigation too much because we have things like this. And we have things like this. And we have things like this. But this is a little bit of an unintentional strawman. Because this is not counterplay in any sort of strategic sense. And no 5v5 does not force these things. Otherwise, characters like Junker Queen and Winston would not be able to function. Or Zarya would not be able to function. Now, you could argue in ranked, they're problematic here and there. Yeah, but they've had their moments, they're fine, and they do very well. So, the problem, niche...
5v5 does force it more than 6v6 would. It does. If it was 6v6, Ram Block would not have to reduce like 90% of incoming damage. It can reduce some damage. Cardiac Overdrive would not apply to the entire team. Fortify, you could have her be crit through Fortify. Like, sure, you could say 5v5 doesn't force Blizzard to do like this, right? But it kind of does, actually. Now that I think about it, it actually does. Because what would happen in this game if you made it so Ram just couldn't perma-block damage? Just dies after he uses his first cooldown exchange. Because there's not a second tank to help absorb incoming damage, and there's not a meaningful frontline exchange for him. Right? 6v6 allows for more counterplay and less ability strength and more player agency than 5v5 does for the tank role. Objectively, it just does. Because there was a frontline exchange that actually mattered back then.
Is said niche. It's niche or niche. You could say it either way. Artifice, thank you for the sub. Yeah.
Regardless of which
the problem
hero
is
it
that
or it's extreme.
when you compare this counterplay to this counterplay and this counterplay with, this counterplay, it's leagues apart. There's vulnerability. And not only is there vulnerability, but you notice as well, with what can Ramacha do while he's blocking? Nothing. It's not fun. There's no risk versus reward. It's not enjoyable. It's boring.
I agree.
Whereas a character like Sigma, every single cooldown requires choice. You only have so much shield, and it goes on a cooldown. And you can use it for yourself. You can use it on an off angle. You can use it to cut off healing. Even your shift has counterplay. And it's on a relatively, not I would say a long cooldown, but it's it can be used offensively.
Barely. Grasp barely has counterplay. Barely.
To close the distance and to build HP for yourself. Even your accretion is something that you can use and can be very important to use to protect yourself, but you might be missing out on opportunities to use it offensively. The difference between Ram Block and Ryan Shield is that Ryan actually, like flashing shield is something that's actually worth doing. Flashing block is only about blocking damage. There's no actual nuance with how you use Ram Block. You're low, you use Ram Block.
I always thought that if you blocked a certain amount of damage as Ram, you should get like a speed boost to go like chase pummel kills down, but that was just me.
Ryan Shield, You have to block a crucial cooldown, right? You can block a cooldown with Rhine Shield. Oh no, there's burst damage coming in. I can react to that, right? Oh, I'm getting a little bit low. I want to keep my armor up, right? And you can actually move while you're doing it. Ram can do it as well, but Chad, maybe I'm smoking, but I think Rhine can move faster, maybe? If anything, that's my one complaint with Rhine. I think he should be able to move faster with shielding. Gives vision as well, right? So you can protect your teammates. Yeah, so it's a good question. Yeah, this is too slow. This is too slow for playmaking. Way too slow for playmaking, and you can't even block any cooldowns with it. It's exclusively used when you're low. Would you say Orisa's spin is better than... Yeah, because Orisa's spin does damage. Does damage. And it speeds you up. It's not Orisa has the problems, but Javelin spin is not one of them.
It's fortify. It's always been fortify. It's always been fortify for Orisa's problem.
So my point is that like you need thoughtful mitigation. And Sigma is a great example of this. Jungle Queens bleed, right? Shout, speed, plus the fact that you have to hit your abilities to keep yourself alive is a very thoughtful and...
Like, I agree. Like, some of those heroes are better designed, right? But they'd still be better to play in 6v6.
Challenging.
Gameplay loop.
You can
not changed by any of
You
this.
need your bubbles. They give you energy, but also you need them to take space. Very thoughtful. Diva has her issues, but even Matrix. You can't just Matrix anytime. You lose damage, right? Winston Bubble. Great example. You need Winston Bubble to do damage, but you got to be very careful how and when you place it. I think we need thoughtful mitigation.
He's right.
We need thoughtful mitigation.
He is right about that. He's completely... Like, he's not wrong. Like, it should all take thought, and it should all be about playmaking. He's completely right. And when it's and the difference is between the two formats is 6v6 allows for more thoughtful player-made decisions to be what rewards you rather than the heroes that you pick and the game doing it. He is right. 100% he is right. I agree with him. The other format allows for that more than this one does, especially for tank players. That's my main point.
This is just... What is this?
That's 5v5 tank.
Like, what is this? Like, what is this, guys? What is this? Even Orisa's Fortify, where it has like the cooldown mechanic, right? It's never actually relevant, almost never relevant, right? What is this? What is this?
Yeah. He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
And see, what happens is then there's this impression that like, oh, all Overwatch 2 tanks have to have this sort of mitigation. But that's not true. These are just the tanks these are some of the tanks that we have. Mm-hmm. What is it specifically thoughtful about Malgus Cardiac? What does Malgus Cardiac Arrest do? Or
Cardiac Arrest.
Cardiac What does Malgus Cardiac Overdrive do?
Oh, that's funny.
Let's look it up.
It's like 35% damage
Cardiac Overdrive
for everybody around you or something.
Healing. It heals you. Also reduces damage. In what circumstance would you guys use Cardiac Overdrive outside of keeping yourself alive?
To help your team. To damage the gate for your team.
Does this block cooldowns? Does this block? Is this gonna be a... No, absolutely nothing. You use it when you're low, and that's it. Even the secondary benefit is the same thing. You heal yourself more.
I use it. No. I use it to keep my armor up, but he gets that. You use it to help your DPS on duels whenever you see a big frontline exchange happening, because your team just gets to fucking exist forever, right? Like, there are other times where you want to use it, but like, I think that's really unhealthy because, again, you're just pressing a button and negating damage from your entire team. It's stupid design. But it has to be that way because if he can't help his team, then he's going to get picked. He's not going to get picked over some of the other tanks.
It's the same thing, but more. And giving it to allies. The only nuance is potentially maybe wanting to use it with your teammates, but again, it's the same thing. There's no... Right, Junker Queen Shout could be used aggressively or defensively. In fact, it's often used aggressively. And the other part of her tankiness is her sustain,
I mean,
right?
You could say the same for Overdrive, though, in some
Roadhog,
regards.
Vape. What does it do? It heal and damage reduct. Can you use this for the damage reduction? Yes, that's one of the nice nuanced things, but you can't even counterplay it anymore.
Yeah, because it has to be stronger if he's a solo tank.
I don't think shields are a bad thing anymore. It depends
shields
on how
were
the
never
shield
bad.
is used. Honestly,
listen,
guys.
Shields were never bad. Shields were never bad. What was bad is when you gave the characters everything. That what was bad. When they had a shield and better sustainabilities behind the shield than the heroes that didn't have a shield. That's what was bad. What was bad was when the design was generalized. Like Sigma, who had a shield, range damage, a stun, and grasp, a sustainability better than Reinhardt. Nobody ever complained about Reinhardt's barrier. You want to know why? Because he couldn't do shit if his barrier broke and he died. Because he was killable and he had a weakness, right? He had a weakness that if you played properly and you did the right thing, you could exploit if they did the wrong thing. Shields were never the problem in Overwatch 1. It was the generalist design where they made heroes do everything. That was the problem. The biggest perpetrators, Brigitte, Baptiste, Orisa, and Sigma. Done. Done.
I would rather Orisa to have a shield than Orisa to have Fortify.
I agree.
I think it would kill the character, probably, and I don't want a poke character. But Orisa's shield was more thoughtful mitigation.
I agree. I said this for years, Spilo. And you know I said it too. Fortify was the problem. And that's why when they cut her barrier in half, they nerfed it harder than anything they ever had before. She was still meta with double shield and people still hated her. And even now, when she doesn't have a shield, she's still hated. And what is the common theme? Fortify. Fortify. Fortify has always been the problem. Always. Always, 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 always. I said it back then. I still stand by it now. And that take has aged like fine wine. And I'm glad that we agree on that because fuck Fortify. Fuck Fortify.
Here's the other hot take. You ready for the hot take? I don't think we need Orisa to have shield again. I think if you made Fortify buff up Orisa's damage or buff, or we remember the whole Orisa rework where we put all the time into like changing how her weapon worked around Fortify. So there was like actually reasons to use it for offensive purposes. If you did that,
shoot faster,
we wouldn't need to have this conversation. We can keep Fortify. And you know what? Screw off with brainless mitigation. Let Orisa be headshot. Let Orisa be headshot. There's no way you're allowing somebody, you're punishing somebody for trying to headshot Orisa. There's brainless mitigation.
Cooking. He's
brainless
cooking.
mitigation.
He's
if you made Orisa's Fortify, actually give her some
it's so
serious.
Funny. If guys like Spilo or myself or Hawk were like in charge of game balance in Overwatch 1, like it would have been god tier. I'm telling you guys, like the old devs were genuinely just clueless. Genuinely just clueless. Genuinely just clueless.
Offensive benefit. And then you also let her be headshot. I'm just telling you guys, you'd have to make choices.
You would. The real thing that broke Fortify was when they made it so that you couldn't headshot Orisa during Fortify. Because you just had no path to out damaging the ability. There's no way to do it. No way to do it. That was the balance change that broke the game. Right there.
You know what I'm saying? But right now, there's only one way to use Fortify to keep yourself alive.
Not just clueless, but stubborn and arrogant. The old devs were stubborn and arrogant. They were. 100% yes. They were very arrogant. Very arrogant.
Heck, that's why I like Javelin Spin, right? I think if anything, Javelin Spin could probably make you go, I mean, okay, you guys know what I think about Javelin Spin, right? You guys remember the custom game, the vertical Javelin? Oh my gosh, that was so much fun when we played it. But like Javelin Spin is really close to being like a pretty good damage mitigation thing because it does protect you, it eats the projectiles, it allows you to move faster, but you can also, you can use it to close distances and dive stuff, right? Terra would be trash without headshot protection, unfortunately. That is true. So maybe we make it that she's invulnerable during Terra surge or whatever, right? There's innumerable things. But the problem with 5v5 tank is not that we don't want to give free goodies to tank. Right? You don't want to do that. We don't want to just necessarily buff the tank passive indiscriminately.
Fuck the
In
tank
fact,
passive.
I think we got to be very careful how and where we want to buff the tank passive. Oh, man.
He just cooked, though. He's
Here's
right.
a hot take,
He's completely
okay? Here's
right.
a hot take. Maybe we don't buff the tank passive until we make tanks less attractive to shoot.
Impossible.
Or maybe, you know what I'm saying?
You can't, because at that point, it's not a tank anymore. You said this at the start. This is the roundabout. You can't get around it. It's unbeatable.
Psychology here, guys. This stuff takes work. This is why I get so mad at the whole 6v6 thing, because it's like, oh, it's 6v6, everything's solved. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's not even close to being solved.
It's mitigated.
This is just as much a problem in Overwatch 1.
You're in a better position to solve these problems in 6v6 than you are now, and that's why. If you want to try to solve these problems, the first thing you have to do is give yourself a solid foundation to solve them. If you don't have a solid foundation for what you're building off of, you're fucked. That's the whole point for 6v6. No one's saying it's magically solved, but it's easier to solve it there, and you have a better foundation, and the game is in the player's hands. There's less forced counter-swapping across every rank. It's just easier to solve this in 6v6 than it is in 5v5. You can try, but it'll never be better. That is the point. That's the entire point. Spilo's channeling his inner Destiny right now, bro. Don't compare Spilo to Destiny, bro. Come on, man. But I love watching his thought process because I will give Spilo a ton of credit here. He's the only person who's actually approaching this with like a brain. He's the only person I've seen to approach this with like actual brain power. Everybody else is just spouting fucking nonsense or rose-tinted glasses or any of this. Like, he's actually entertaining the arguments and really getting into the nitty-gritty, which nobody else does.
Just as much a problem, maybe not for specifically tanks, but overall, we're wasting time. We need to be thinking about solutions here, real solutions.
I agree with you. There isn't one in 5v5.
Tanks should have a smaller headshot critical multiplier. I've always fought that idea because I don't like having the idea of...
What did they tell you guys? Here's what I was going to say here. What did they fuck up? They had to have fucked up something for everybody to be saying this. What did they tell you they fucked up? What was it? Something happened at the Creator Summit. Just be honest, Blizzard. I'm telling you, something fucked up. So I don't know what it is. They told people something. Because I've heard similar things from a lot of different people. And I refuse to believe. Absolutely refuse to believe that of all the great people I know who are great minds, analytical people who love discussing this stuff, there is no way who all went to the Creator Summit would be walking away from this issue without entertaining the ideas when we knew it worked in the old game. What did they tell you all? Something happened. I don't know what it is. I refuse to believe something didn't happen. I know better. I'm not an idiot. Sammy, you're not going to invite to the summit? Dude, no. No. I don't get along with Blizzard like that. No. Too honest about the failures, to be frank with you. But yeah, no, like I don't know what the hell it is. They told them something. I know they did. There's no fucking way they didn't, because there's no way my colleagues who love intellectual discussion would all be like, we're never going back. Something got fucked up. I don't know what it is.
Of punishing skill, right?
It's pretty obvious. They all get paid to follow this narrative and speak along a certain set of guidelines. Probably. They don't get paid, but it's heavily rewarded and incentivized to maintain a good relationship. And if Blizzard doesn't want people talking about it, which they clearly don't, it definitely would go against you. But again, this is exactly why the game will never be elite if that's the mentality they have. So I don't know.
Here's the thing. What if we reduced tank hitboxes by a little bit? And then you introduced... Maybe you didn't even touch the tank passive. Maybe you didn't touch the tank passive. Maybe the DPS passive. Maybe is what you reduced that with tank. But maybe you didn't reduce the efficacy of Sleep Dart and Nade and Discord.
But let's entertain his arguments.
Maybe by a little bit.
Let's entertain his arguments.
Maybe okay, let's just for a second, you didn't. But you made
you reduced tank hitboxes, sure. Okay, you've still not changed the gameplay loop, which is why it feels like shit. Because you still don't have options. You still have no options. You haven't changed the fact that doesn't feel rewarding. Because it's one-dimensional, no matter what you do. No matter if you change the hitboxes, you change the damage, you change the balance. Ultimately, the best way to solve this is to have a second tank on the field. It is that simple.
Is a little bit smaller, and you gave tanks the ability to counterplay, crowd control. Maybe not indiscriminate. Again, one, right? Like you could have a parry mechanic with Doomfist, right? If tanks were less threatening, no one would want to shoot them. But that's the point, is if we by giving tanks counterplay to CC, whether it's some form of like damage mitigation that's thoughtful, you are making them more threatening. That's exactly what you're doing.
But it comes at a cost of the other roles now. That didn't happen before.
So we have to balance that, right? By making them slightly slipperier, right? And so what we do is we make let's just go for example. Let's say that there's some way that we can make Malga. Let's do Ramattra. We gave Ramattra. Let's do Malga. This is just magical world here. We gave Malga. We gave Malga the ability to counterplay CC a little bit, and then we nerfed his hitbox a tiny bit. He would be really strong, right? Because he'd get basically 2 buffs, and he'd be just as scary as he was before because he would be harder to shoot slightly, but more lethal slightly. Then I think the next change you would need to make is probably nerf, like we talked about, nerf the raw HP. So we want to buff indirect survivability. We want to nerf direct raw survivability. And then adjust hitboxes as normal. And I think that's something that you would want to go down the list of tanks.
You can try to mitigate things that way, but it's still, again, like the gameplay loop will not change because of this. And the main issue is the gameplay loop is insanely
If you're CC'd, you're getting
one-dimensional.
hit anyway. Right, but that's why we introduced some form of CC counterplay. Because this is something I realized in a couple of weeks ago. I realized that like hitboxes actually do have a very important
They do.
a very important impact on the attractiveness of which targets to shoot. It's not an accident.
Okay, but
that
say you reduce his hitbox. You're essentially right back where you started pre-hitbox buff in Season 9. Where the devs buffed everybody's hitbox size. So you're just right back where you started. And guess what? It was still shitty then too. You can't solve it in 5v5. You can't balance a gameplay loop to be different. You can't. Because it'll always come at the price of something else. And at the best case scenario, you slightly mitigate it. It's not better.
fatter tanks are the ones that everybody shoots. That's just how it goes.
It's an interesting solution.
Yeah, I'm not talking about
he's
like
thinking
we're not
through
talking
all
about
of it.
Malga specifically here. I'm just using him as an example.
He's thinking through the same things that I like, guys. When I took time away from Overwatch to work on Mindplex and make sure that we set out Mindplex well to like get started and get going, like I had like 2 or 3 months where I didn't play the game, and in that time away, I really sat down and thought about all of this. I thought about all of it, and I sat there and I was like, wait, you can't fucking fix this. You can't. And I thought through, like I did everything that he's thinking through, like I went through. And that's why I made my 6v6 video, because I realized you couldn't do it. It's impossible. And that, like, so it's amusing to me to see someone with a very similar mind to me. It's kind of enjoyable seeing them like think through the same shit. It really pissed me off, actually. I couldn't figure it out because I like solving problems, and so like I would have taken it more of a ego challenge to be able to solve the problem and bring the solution. Except I realized that I fucking couldn't, and it really made me mad.
Example, some of these tanks, it's not like, oh, this would fix the tank. Some of these things have systemic problems. Roadhog, Malga, coming to Ramatra, Orisa, some of those guys. But I'm thinking like the globally, like we're thinking big picture here, holistically, okay?
Autumn says down bad for Hog.
So what happens from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2 is we increase the raw survivability, but we haven't really increased the functional survivability. And that's very important to do because now we do have one fewer tank. And so there are going to be more things thrown their way.
Yep.
I don't think the role of tank is fundamentally flawed. I just think it's tricky to balance.
It's not fundamentally flawed. It's like the role of tank is not the issue. It's the format. The format is the issue.
And this is not a 5v5 problem.
It is a 5v5 problem because this problem came up because of 5v5. The problems of tanking in Overwatch 1 were caused by bad balance and insane CC with too much sustain. That was balance. The ones now for the one-dimensional gameplay loop having too much pressure on you and all of the new things that Blizzard specifically said when they announced 5v5 are all caused by 5v5. That is what caused them. It is caused by 5v5. The devs themselves said it when they announced 5v5. It is in their blog. They said it. So we're not just going to act like they didn't say it. We're not just going to act like it's not true. They said it, right? They said it. This is not me spouting this for 6v6. These are their words. We can't just act like they didn't say. They said it. And they even said that if they are going to get direct quote from Jeff Goodman, if we are going to go down this path, we have a lot of problems we are going to have to solve, but we'll solve them later. Direct quote. And he's no longer even at the company. They said this when they announced. Look at this. I'll pull it up right now. Look. Look at this. Look.
lately when we say this is, how does Roadhog work in a world where you could pick Reinhardt instead? Like how is that as an equivalent pick? So that's sort of our first question when we first were doing it too. Like, we like this 5v5 thing. It was super fun when we playtested it. That has a lot of promise, but okay, we have to solve a lot of problems if we go this way. So that's sort of.
Are we gonna act like they didn't say this? Like, this is in the launch. This is in the fucking launch. They announced this with the launch. And we're gonna act like this is not a 5v5 problem? Get fucking real, guys. Stop taking pictures with the Porsche Diva statue at Blizzard HQ and say it for what it fucking is. It is fucking 5v5. Even they said it. They said it. Stop pretending. What are we talking about, man? Their solution, give him Pigpen. Like, you guys have to understand. Like, here's the reality. This is a dev team that never understood a damn thing about their game. They've gotten better. They have. But when it comes down to it, they never, like, this iteration of the team never understood it. Never. Never. Like, it's, do you want me to pull up another one? Look what else they said.
Worried about that pressure a little bit, like, oh man, that's a lot of, like, I have a lot of responsibility back to how you want it to go, which, you know, so I think some people are sort of, internally we've had people like kind of worried about that pressure a little bit, like, oh man, that's a lot of, like, I have a lot of responsibility now. But I think as you start to play it and you realize like, wow, I actually have a lot more tools to do this than before, though. I mean, I'm a lot stronger.
Yeah, a lot more tools, but there's no way to get direct value. It's a bad experience. They acknowledged, they literally said all of the big new problems in the tank role that were caused by 5v5 in the launch trailer. And their answer was, we'll solve it later. Well, we're later, and you can't solve it. So, like, just like, stop saying this isn't a 5v5 issue. It is a 5v5 issue. Even the devs said it.
This is something that's even a problem. Like, here's the funny thing, chat. This is even a problem. How many of you guys have played PvP in MMOs? All right? How many of you guys played PvP in MMOs? How many of you guys have played a tank or played versus a tank in PvP in MMOs?
It's not Overwatch. It's not a shooter game.
It's usually a big problem, right? Because you have to be like, either I do no damage or survivability. Now, it's a lot. I think it's a lot more doable in the first-person shooter genre, though.
Yes.
Because you can control the environment with which you're playing.
Yes.
I don't think it's fundamentally flawed. I just think it's tricky to balance.
It is hard to balance. It is hard to balance. So why are we forcing a format where it's even harder to balance? You're right. It is hard, but it's even harder now. Like, this is the point.
Remember, what is a tank? A tank is somebody that is generally more psychologically imposing and can hold your attention longer than a DPS. That's what we need to lean into. We need to ask ourselves, what makes a tank psychologically imposing and what allows them to hold my attention for longer? And we need to lean into that. And that's why we talk about CC counterplay. But there can be a limit. There can be an extreme. We don't need tanks to be the size of Malga to hold your aggression. A Junker Queen is significantly...
Sure. Reduces hitbox, but then you're right back to where you were previously, and the gameplay loop is still one-dimensional. You have not solved it.
More imposing than, say, a Tracer. But she's relatively slender compared to other tanks. What do you think about the current high elo counterswap tank meta and how do you fix it? Well, the problem with the high elo tank counterswap meta is, I think to an extent, there's like two ways of looking at it. One is that these players are like at their level, even a slight advantage matters a lot, right? A slight advantage. So even if the tank counter swap isn't that big of a deal, if it matters enough, they will make the swap. The other thing as well is because these players have not solved how to adjust their compositional playstyle. And what you'll end up seeing is like the tank rock paper scissors is always exaggerated early in the meta because it's free value. As players get better at understanding the meta and what they do, generally the counter swapping tends to slow down just a little bit.
And to be honest, guys, I won't lie. Like high value, like high rank is the least of the issues here. Like it's a problem, but like it's the low level players that are being forced to counter swap and play into this shit that's the bigger issue.
I mean, I have a good example just the other day. I watched a couple of our Overwatch matches, and we got sucked into the tank rock paper scissors a little bit, and it did not solve our problems. It felt better, but it did not solve our problems, and in many ways we did worse. We also before that were playing a team who I'm pretty sure was stream sniping what tank we were playing and kept trying to counter swap our tank, and then they lost. They did not know how to play the tank into the composition that we were playing. I agree, Caffeine. I agree. You will not find me disagreeing with that statement at all. I think the counter swapping is more of a problem because it's easier to counter swap. It's just the nature of. It's not even in the nature of the tank, although he is the loudest or she is the loudest, biggest person on the field. It's the fact that there's just one fewer people. If Overwatch 2 lost a DPS instead of a tank,
it would be the same
counter swapping would have been more in the 5v5 environment.
It would be the same problem.
You know what I'm saying? It's just the nature of cutting down the number of players. That's how it goes. I don't disagree. I think what we have to do is I think right now we have tanks that are a little bit too, they're too brawny, for lack of a better term. They are extremely in your face and extremely unequipped for dealing with that level of attention if the situation isn't right. Makes the game less accessible and enjoyable for lower elo players. Maybe. In that aspect, yes, maybe. You'd have to understand why is tank counter swapping a problem. Like when I go Winston, but we also have to keep in mind that a lot of these issues are not necessarily happening in a vacuum either, right? So when I go Winston, what do I worry about when I go Winston?
Moira, Lifeweaver, Bastion,
or Reinhardt. What do I get counterpicked with?
Diva,
Bastion. Do we have a Winston problem? Do we have a Bastion problem?
Bastion's not a problem.
What about Reaper and Roadhog?
Hog, yeah, Hog. Fuck Hog.
You know, I'm just food for thought. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me put it this way: if the enemy team went Orisa, Roadhog, Bastion in Overwatch 1, it was going to feel just as bad, maybe even worse. But he doesn't force the pick. So the problem is, guys, the problem is psychology. The problem is not strategy. The problem is psychology. The problem's not strategy. Let me repeat that one more time. The problem is psychology. The problem is not strategy. 99% of the time.
It's both.
Now, initially after the Bastion rework, Bastion was way too strong. But even now, you can play Winston and to a great deal number of counters, especially if the map is good. The problem is that people don't understand that, and the problem is that the people don't feel like they're getting the value. Chat, a great example of this one is that we know that Reinhardt does very well in lower ranks. Why? Because he's not super hard to play to get the initial value. But if you thought about everything, you believe everything that you read, you think that Ryan was garbage in low to mid ranks. Why? Because it doesn't feel like you're always doing stuff, even though you are really good at absorbing attention.
But most people aren't like reading this shit though. They're just hopping on and playing and they don't care. Like those people just don't care.
And that's the problem. You guys have to remember this. You, I'm talking to you. You hear me? I'm talking to you. You think I'm talking to something? No, I'm talking to you. You do not have an accurate feel of how effective you are in your rank game. You don't know how good you are.
Again, he is right about that though. Like most players don't actually understand everything that they're doing around them. He is right about that, right? But that's only a part of the bigger picture, right? Because like again, in the average ranks, like these kids never played the meta to begin with. You know, it was more so about what was fun for them. He's not wrong though. He's not wrong about that. He's not.
And the reason I know this is not just because, psychology, whatever, because I've coached thousands of players
they just don't
in the last 2 years.
They don't even
just in the last 2 years.
Right. They don't understand.
Like I've coached almost 9,000 hours one-on-one. But I've coached so many in the last since I've started.
Right.
And every single time I will see, I will coach somebody who's counter swapping or being counter swapped. And I go, you just don't know what you're doing. You don't understand. Or you're swapping because you feel bad and they go on to lose. Chat, if I had a dime for every tank review that I have done where somebody swaps into Orisa and then loses the game. if I had a dime for every tank review I did of a Winston or Diva or Wrecking Ball, oh yeah, this is where I swapped Orisa and we lost the game anyway. It's a psychology problem. It feels like Orisa, like, hey, I'm not dying. I'm shooting tickies. Something's happening. And they lose the game. You lose the game.
It doesn't auto-win you the game, but it feels
This isn't
better.
just, oh, it's a skill issue. It's not even that. You could literally be bad at Winston and probably win more games than Orisa. But people don't want to do that. They would rather lose.
No, dude. No. I've had to counter swap off Winston and fucking Diamond and Plat because they counter swap me, but I will almost never have to counter swap off Orisa unless they go like Zarya or some shit. It really depends on the situation. But he's not wrong about people not knowing what they're doing, though. He's not wrong about that.
And feel like they're doing something, then win and feel like they're not. And that is a psychology problem. That is not a fun. It is a psychology problem of something doesn't feel good and why.
But ultimately, these people play the video game to feel good. It's not always about winning. Most people play the game to feel good. But now you kind of like have to do it. It's, again, another reason why the format is fucking worse. Tank suffers because of the format.
You know? It's the swap to Moira. You know, you guys. I remember that was so common back today. It's still kind of common nowadays, where people will go like, "Oh, they go Tracer." I go off of Zenyatta and I go Moira, and they lose the game. You know what I'm saying?
Now they win now.
What we have to find out is what feels so bad as Winston. What feels so good as Orisa? Maybe two, but okay, this is the thing though. It's not just what feels so good as Orisa. What feels good as Orisa, but actually accomplishes nothing. You guys see what I'm saying? It's not just what feels good as Orisa. Let's make that happen with Winston. No. Because Orisa's doing nothing. Orisa thinks she's doing something, but she's doing nothing. Why is that?
Welcome to the 5v5 tank gameplay loop, where you sit there and fucking shoot at each other because there's not a secondary option, but the secondary tank in an exchange that can create an advantage that would let you snowball after the fight. That's why. And it's caused because there's only one fucking tank on each team. Orisa does what's best for Overwatch 2 taking. Sitting on one spot and just exchanging meaningless fucking frontline cooldowns until somebody fucks up more. Exactly. And Orisa exemplifies that the best of their brawler tank style that Jeff Goodman and them said they wanted to make all tanks into this brawler tank style, which in turn just meant sitting there fucking shooting at each other. Or Ram sitting there blocking at each other. The only heroes that really got around that were really like Doom, right? Sometimes Monkey when he gets counter-swapped like the dive comps, but at least the brawl tanks in that regard, much better than fucking Reinhardt sitting there.
Why is that? Shooting the enemy tank, right? What is tanking, guys? Who do you, like, we can conjecture here. We can think, Orisa has a lot of trash damage, but she's not very good she doesn't have the mobility to secure kills, or she has invulnerability, but she can absorb a lot of HP. She doesn't have really a fight impacting ultimate. She doesn't have the capability of going for squishies. You survive, but you don't put out enough pressure on enemy squishies. You don't create enough space. And so yeah. Now, whether Orisa's strong or not, I think Orisa's probably fine right now in certain situations, right? The problem is that Orisa always feels more effective than she actually is. Always feels more effective than she actually is. And Winston always feels less effective than he actually is, and Reinhardt and so on. And it's not just a skill issue. So
I'm getting hungry, boys.
This is where we have to also get into the nuts and bolts of the game. And this is something that had to, again, I want to clarify, this is something that would have needed to have happened in 6v6 as well. You have to get into the nuts and bolts of the game and find out, what do we need to do to make tanks still effective at controlling HP and abusing the psychology? But
you want to know how you do it in 6v6? You balance change 4 characters: Orisa, Sigma, Baptiste, and Brigitte. Congratulations. You've made a fantastic game. Kind of like what they did in, when was that? Oh, wait, October of 2020. It is that simple in 6v6. In 5v5, it's not that simple. And the only variable that changed was they removed a tank from the game. That's it. It's weird how that works. Why are we wasting our time on this? People liked tanking in October of 2020 because the exchanges were there. The direct value was there. The big plays were there. And they weren't getting auto-denied by brain-dead heroes and brain-dead abilities, kind of like you see more of in 5v5 because they're forced to be stronger for these tanks to be picked. Cardiac Overdrive. Even Queen Shout when it came out. It's simple. Couple balance changes, and the game was fantastic in 6v6 role queue. And October of 2020 is the living proof of that. It's not fairyland. It happened. It happened. And then what did the devs do? Made the worst patch ever. Decided to go to 5v5. I think they ruined that patch on purpose. you ask me, to make 5v5 look better. Made a worse game. Said all the problems that they were going to create and that we're going to have to solve them later. Left them to rot, and now here we are. This is silly. I just played the clip of them acknowledging what the problem was. So, I don't know.
Not such so that when I go Winston or when I go Roadhog, the entire team is looking at me the entire game. You get what I'm saying?
Almost. It's almost like if you put a second tank on the map,
why is that the case? Because you can't just buff Winston.
Yeah, you're right. You can't. Why is that the case? Because they removed the fucking tank from the game. That's why it's the case. What are we talking about? They removed the tank. That's why you get looked at. Because like you said, the psychology of the tank is to be up in your face. And when there's only one, you're going to get fucking shot at the most. It is that simple. It is that simple.
You can't just flat out buff. The guy's already strong. He's really effective at what he does. And if the map is halfway decent, he's actually one of the best tanks in the game, especially if you're halfway decent at him. He's really good. He doesn't always feel that way, but he's really, really freaking good. So this is where you know, I've had some ideas here. I think hitboxes is something we need to consider. Audio cues is something that we need to consider. I think shifting more counterplay options to tank and yet reducing their overall health pool so they don't just live if the enemy team doesn't have counters. Nerfing or adjusting characters that get value just by shooting tank. That's the other thing as well, is like, we don't want Bastion to feel as good as he does right now shooting tank. You get what I'm saying? It feels too good shooting Bastion into a tank. And again, this is for the Bastion's benefit as well. Bastion is good at tank busting, but I've reviewed several mid to low rank Bastions in the past 6 months, and those players exclusively shoot tank, without exception, shoot tank too much. Yeah. They lose games because they shoot tank too much. Why? Because it's easy and it feels good. And so that's a Bastion problem. You see, this isn't just about tank. This isn't just about tank. It just so happens that a lot of the sillier, easier characters can dump their...
And he's right. Like, you can mitigate some of this stuff. Excuse me. You can mitigate some of this stuff, but it doesn't change the bottom line. Just, like, again, it's still going to happen. And most players are still always going to do that, especially in the lower ranks. It doesn't solve counter swapping. It doesn't solve the tank experience. It doesn't. It does not change it. So, like, he's not wrong that some of these things would mitigate or potentially do things, but it doesn't affect the gameplay loop. And the biggest loss that tanks took was the gameplay loop.
Value on a tank and feel like they're doing something in the losing games. We just coached a Reaper today, right? So, same thing with Torbjorn, right? You know, and this happens with Ana as well. If I had a dime for every time and Ana just dumped a sleep dart or a nade into a Roadhog across the map, and the Roadhog freaking wants to quit the game, and then the Ana dies to the Tracer, and I'm like, right? If I had a dime for every time that happened, right? Or Zenyatta just dumps damage into the enemy tank and ignores the Sombra on the flank, and they lose the fight, right? That happens all the time. But the Zenyatta feels bad about that, nerf Tracer, FYI, right? And then the tank feels bad about that, even though they won the fight. Do tank busters need to exist in 5v5? Bro, I don't think tank busters need to exist in 6v6. I don't think tank busters need to exist in 6v6. I see no reason. In 6v6, the health pools for tanks were even lower. There was even less of a need to have tank busters in 6v6. There was no reason for Hanzo or Reaper or Bastion in the state that they were to exist in 6v6. There was zero reason. You didn't need that much damage to kill a tank in 6v6. They had lower health pools.
Still out to Jake.
So, like, my whole point is that, like, this is exactly what I'm talking about, though, right? Like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. We have there doesn't need to be a tank buster character. It doesn't need to exist. We don't, because this is why you don't need a tank buster character. The psychology of a character that gets in your face is already good enough to motivate you to shoot him. You don't need more motivation to shoot a tank than you already do. And the problem is that with the exception of things like boops, what's the problem with the ult charge, getting reduced ult charge from shooting tank? Think about it. What's the problem about getting reduced ult charge as a tank? And it's not that's a bad idea, but why isn't it an incomplete idea?
It is a bad idea.
Think about it.
It is a bad idea. It is a bad idea.
Think about it. Why is getting reduced ult charge
Somebody's saying
in the game? Why is it not good? Right. You don't feel the change. You don't miss more shots. I coach Lucio players back before they buffed Boop. And you could see Lucio players really not going out of their way to boop tanks because they'd learned. They didn't even realize it, but they'd learned that, you know, it doesn't do all that much, right? But nobody shoots and then looks down at their ult charge. Oh, wait, I'm getting 20, or is it 15 or 30% less ult charge? Wait a second, I'm going to stop shooting tanks. You don't feel it, right? You're not missing more shots.
You have to be thinking about it.
You're not noticing that, oh, wow, we lost this fight at 85% ult charge. If I had shot a squishy instead, I would have built my ult. You don't notice those things.
Addition.
So it's like, it's a nerf to shooting tank, but the tank doesn't feel it and you don't feel it. And so it doesn't change anything. it changes the results. So here's the funny thing. This is why lower rank shoot tanks more, because if you don't shoot tank and you duel people with your sleep dart and your nade, and you're going to win games. You're going to rank up. But the low rank players are going to stay stuck in low rank, not knowing, why am I not getting out of low rank? Because you're picking Orisa, you're picking Malga.
Yeah, except but Spilo, also, your solution is to magically teach people how to be better at the game. That's never going to happen. That will never, ever happen. Never. These players will not magically learn how to play the game because they sit in these ranks forever because they don't play the game like that. So again, like, if these are the solutions, they won't ever change anything. Right? It won't matter. It might help the high level players, but the noobs are never gonna fucking learn how to play. Look at my chat. They've been in this rank for 40 plus seasons, dude. They've been plat for 40 seasons. They don't want the game. They don't want the solutions. They want it to feel fun, which is why they launch a video game.
Because you're sitting on main and dumping damage into the enemy tank. And they don't know what's wrong because it doesn't, like, remember, the goal is that we have, this is why the tank discussion is so important, because this isn't just about tank. This is about Overwatch. Doing the right thing should feel good. Doing the wrong thing should feel bad. And I don't think that's enough of the case right now.
Fair. Still
we
doesn't
have
solve
to
the
ask
problem.
ourselves, what about the psychology of Overwatch? Can we help control, adjust, improve to make bad things feel bad and good things feel good?
Now I will say he is right. Like, this is a good game design philosophy. Absolutely. But it doesn't solve any of the problems in this particular circumstance because they were caused by the format change. Like the developers said when they announced the format change.
Right now, putting attention on the enemy tank feels
This
way
isn't
too
just
good.
me saying it. This isn't just me saying it like a lot of the 5v5ers. Oh, it'll never come back. Oh, it's the rose-tinted glasses. Oh, you're just saying that. No, this is not just me saying that. The developers themselves said this, right? And that's the big difference between the arguments. One's fact-based. The other is gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss.
Way too good for not being a valid and consistent way of attaining victory. Isn't recognizing this, you don't get value from missing it more of a skill issue than faulty game design choice? No, I disagree. It's a good question. Like, if you're smart, if you watch Spilo videos, or other videos, you will learn. And but the thing is the reason why it's dangerous is we don't want the game to be unintuitive. A lot of people make fun of me, not make fun of me, but like don't like my rework ideas of like adding some nuance and complexity because they think, oh, Spilo just wants to make the game hard and every character to be super complicated. That's not true.
No, it's not. That's what makes
but
the game
irony
fun.
is that like a lot of my changes are about trying to make the game more intuitive. Where doing the right thing is easy. It's natural, right?
He's not wrong about that.
Yeah, of course, shooting the tank is valuable. Like you guys understand what I'm saying. Like there's obviously nuance there. It's situational, depends. It's less valuable than you think it is.
Valid.
We want player perception and reality to be as close to 100% accurate. It will never be 100% accurate, right? I mean, look at like the ELO system that we have right now, where everyone's like still gaslighting each other about like the current rank system. But like, certainly we can do a better job, right? Certainly.
He's got all the right mentality. It's just like
tanks are more effective when DPS supports. See, that's the funny thing is you're not even necessarily right, Jump Boy. If you want to be an effective tank, make people look at you. Even if you don't even do a lot of damage. If you just if you look at them and you threaten them, actually making tanks harder to shoot.
But again, that also doesn't change the fact that your gameplay experience and your value is out of your hands, and that's the problem. If you want to give it back to the tank player, you make a tank exchange that's worthwhile, so they actually have a direct exchange that's meaningful, like the other roles.
Would not make tanks more effective. It would make them less effective. They would be ignored slightly more often, right? And, now you might have more freedom to make more plays, but it's a double-edged sword.
Definitely an interesting video.
Interesting, Keep. I'll try it. From the first thing, they don't need to understand every nuance of Genji. They don't need to understand what makes Winston powerful.
I think we've seen enough. I mean, interesting video. A lot of what I thought about, again, it's like game design philosophies that are generally accurate. I think he was wrong on the generalization stuff. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I love Spilo's line of thinking compared to other people when it comes to problem solving in the game. He has a much better grasp on the game than 99% of people, which is why I love watching his content and engaging with him in discussion, because it's always like that discussion and like the thoughts that I had to have, like thinking about this and solutions and stuff. Like, I agreed on actually a lot of the stuff that could be better. It's actually intuitive and insightful. compared to other people who will just be like, rose-tinted glasses, cute time, blah, 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 blah. Like, it actually gets down into the nitty-gritty and the science and the psychology of the game, and, you know, it's always a good watch, and it's a great thought experiment, which is why his channel is such a great channel to go watch, because he will make you question how you think, and if you want to grow, that's essential to being successful. So, yeah, I mean, a good video. Definitely one of the better ones I've seen that's not just totally brain dead. I enjoyed that. Okay. Well, guys, I'm going to go figure out if I'm playing basketball tonight or not. I appreciate you guys coming. Hopefully I get to fucking drop 50, you know. Spilo at least tries to give answers. Yes, exactly. Like, so yeah, I appreciate you guys coming today. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I will see you all next time.